Fan, 965thefan.com, and also the Odyssey app. My name is Carrington Harrison. Wonderful Friday. We have so much to get into. Rob Britton is off today. He and his wife are spending a little quality time together in Herman, Missouri. So we will catch up with Rob coming up in a couple of days. But I'm happy to be here. JT is also here holding it down for you guys. We are off at 5:30 today because of the Kansas City Royals. So we don't get a full show, but we get like 95% of the show today. So again, I am happy to be here with you guys as we get you ready for the Royals weekend series coming up against the Baltimore Orioles. It is important to note. Now, I want you to save this in your phone. Go ahead and set an alarm for it in 10 minutes. We are going to play our first 2025 edition of How Many People Are Going to Kauffman Stadium Tonight? We will play that game coming up in a little bit. It is the first Friday game that they have had this season. It's also kind of wet, kind of cloudy outside, kind of dreary outside. So we will guess how many people are going to be at Kauffman Stadium coming up later today. We'll talk about the Final Four coming up in about 15 minutes as well. We'll also be joined by a guest at 3 o'clock, getting you ready for this weekend's action in college basketball. Before we do those things, I need you to do a couple of favors for me. Number one, I need you to listen to The Drive each day at 2 o'clock right here on 96.5 The Fan. And number two, I need you to tell one friend. I mean, it'd be great if you told multiple people about the show, but you know what? Beggars can't be choosers. If you could just tell one person to check out the show, you know what? I would greatly appreciate it. So I went back and I was looking a lot more closely at the career of Mike Moustakas. And if you look at Mike Moustakas' career about when he got sent down to Omaha to kind of get things right, you remember things were going kind of poorly for Mike Moustakas up to this point. He was hitting 152, had an on-base percentage of 223, and was slugging 320. He had 17 RBIs through his first 40 games. He had that very weird press conference about Jason Vargas. In the first 3.5 years of Mike Moustakas' career, things were not going very well. The Royals made the decision of sending Mike Moustakas down on May 20th in 2014. Now, he came back in a couple of weeks later, and you know what? That is exactly what the doctor ordered. He started to turn his season around, and he turned his career around at that point, became a very different player, became a beloved figure here in Kansas City. And as I was thinking more and more about Mike Moustakas in the context of our conversation yesterday about MJ Melendez, my question to start things off today is simple. MJ Melendez's career is not going off in the way that anyone had anticipated it. If you think about early on in his career, coming up at 23 years old, hitting 18 home runs, 62 RBIs, there was a belief that MJ's career was about to take off. And as he entered his prime, the sky was the limit. Well, we're 3.5 years into this thing, and MJ Melendez is off to a very, very rough start. We looked up over his last 200 at-bats. We're talking about a player who is hitting less than 200, who has an on-base percentage that is less than 300, and is not slugging for nearly what you want him to do. The question to me seems very simple. Can this organization do for MJ Melendez what the past regime was able to do for Mike Moustakas? And it wasn't just for Mike Moustakas. They did that same thing with Alex Gordon. You remember there was a time, and it wasn't as bad as it's going right now for MJ Melendez, but Lorenzo Cain was in a very similar boat, that his career was off to a slow start, couldn't stay healthy, wasn't consistent enough. And the Royals organization was able to stabilize it and get the full value of potential out of Lorenzo Cain. They are going to have to test at some point the exact same thing with Mike Moustakas. Now, maybe this conversation is premature. The Royals told us that they fixed his swing this offseason, so you need to give it a little bit of time. We're talking about 15 plate appearances and 13 at-bats so far to begin this season. So we still have some time. But if it goes anything like how it's gone for the last 200, we are about 4 weeks away from having a very serious conversation about what do you do with MJ Melendez. We are coming up on some very important milestones for him. We are right around the corner from 2,000 plate appearances. We are right around the corner from 1,500 at-bats. He's hitting .219 in his career with a .302 on base percentage. Last year, we had the stat earlier this season from Ryan Lefevre. He had 17 RBIs that didn't directly come from home runs last year. He is not a consistent run producer. He is not a guy that you trust to put the ball in play for you. It's one thing to put up with the strikeout numbers, and that's just modern baseball. But you can't strike out 113 times, you don't walk, and you don't put in runs, and you don't put the ball into play. There's just too many things offensively that the Royals are going to have to try to figure out when it comes to MJ Melendez. So the question is simple. This organization has shown an ability to help players turn their career around. But that was the old regime. That was Dayton Moore, and that was his team. Now, J.J. Picollo was around for some of this, and there's certainly some carryover. But the question is very simple with the Royals. If it gets to the point with MJ Melendez that it got with Mike Moustakas, that it got with Alex Gordon, that it got with some of their past players, are they going to be able to redirect where his career is going? Are they going to be in a position where they can sit him down for 2-3 weeks, clear his mind, clear his head, fix some of the problems with MJ Melendez, bring him up for the second half, and he be a part of the solution of help turning this offense around? We'll have Vern come on the show in about 2 hours or so. We'll get his thoughts on this. But I did want to start today's conversation with a little bit of Royals baseball. We'll get to the Final Four coming up in a bit. We do have a rule on this show, and the rule is very, very simple. If we talk about the Royals at any point in the 2 o'clock open, that can only mean one thing. Rob's not here, so JT, I need you to man the boards. Hit it, JT.
We're where you want to be. Baseball with the Royals. If you want to be.
All right, Carrington, listen. I took an audible. I had given you a lineup, and it was an 03, and I said, you know what, scratch it. I didn't even know who the Royals were back in 03. I was an infant.
I don't even know if you were around in 03.
I was 2 years old at this time.
You wasn't around in 03
I wasn't
then.
around. All right. We took an Vern, and we went to 2021. Okay? It was the first year I actually got to go to opening day. Girlfriend's dad loves me so much, I've gone to 3 straight opening days since being with his daughter.
You married her?
That's coming.
Okay, all right.
I know she ain't listening, but that's coming. So.
All right, hey, you know what? I'm pulling for you.
All right, leading off was Whit Merrifield.
All right, Whit Merrifield leading off.
That second hole was Andrew Benintendi.
Oh, goodness, Andrew Benintendi.
The 3-hole, who's a Royal killer but did not do well for us, was Carlos Santana.
Carlos Santana.
You know who's the cleanup man? Salvador Perez.
Okay, young Salvi.
Then you had Jorge Soler.
Jorge Soler got away from the Royals and instantly turned into who he was supposed to be.
Then you had Michael A. Taylor in center field.
Michael A. Taylor, he played for the Nationals?
Yeah, before us, the Nationals.
Yeah, I was trying to figure out where Michael A. Taylor came from. I knew he was on one of them teams in the National
And I think
League.
he's with the White Sox now.
Oh, well,
yeah, he went bad.
That's barely being in the league.
Right?
If you play for the White Sox, you're one step away from being out of the team.
Then you have Kyle Isbell.
Shout out to Kyle Isbell.
Then there's a player that I had to look up because it wouldn't give me his full name. Hanser Alberto. I was lost. It gave me H. Alberto. I'm like, I don't know who that is.
Well, you went to this game. I'm shocked you don't remember that.
No, I don't. I'm sorry. He had one of the hits. Nicky Lopez was the 9-hole hitter. And then the starting pitcher who went 3 1/3 of an inning, Brady Singer, giving up 5 runs.
Well, that's why they got his ass out of here. That's why they sent him to Cincinnati.
That is
Somebody
correct.
went back and they watched the 2021 opening day and was like, no, we're not doing this anymore.
The Royals lost to the Texas Rangers 7-3 that day.
Would you rather have the 2021 Royals outfield or the 2025 Royals outfield?
Oh, gosh. I would probably take this one. I wouldn't take 2021, I don't think. Yeah.
You sure? It's close.
It's very
close.
close.
It's a real coin
Am I getting
flip.
Jorge Soler in the outfield or is he DH? Because he was DH this game.
However you want to do it.
Okay, well, if I get Jorge Soler in the outfield, I'll take him.
All right. That is the 2021 Royals lineup. The text line is very mad and said that they wanted the 2003 lineup. I give you the autonomy to pick the lineup that you want to pick. This is honestly what happened. JT, I'm going to out you a little bit here. JT came up to me, and he was like, I don't know who this guy is. Can you pronounce his name for me? And I'm like, oh, yeah, of course. It was Carlos Fabulous. And I looked at JT, and I said, just pick another one. Just pick another one.
I was like, I was going to say Fables, Fabilis.
Yeah, you know what? And I tried to save you there because I'm thinking if you don't know Carlos Fabulous, this isn't the lineup you need to be doing. You need to stay to a lineup that's more around your speed. Pick the 2017 Kansas City Royals. I don't got no problem with that. Just because it's random doesn't mean it has to be from my era. It can be from your era.
Okay. Hey, listen, I also picked that game because they scored 7 in the bottom of the 8th to win.
This is the thing, though. I'm not sure if your generation is going to look back with any level of nostalgia for the 2021 Royals.
No.
Like, I look back at nostalgia for the 01 Royals, even the 2011 Royals. You in 15 years will not look back and say, God, whatever happened to Andrew Benintendi? No one will care what happened to Andrew Benintendi or Hanser Alberto. I completely forgot who it was.
Well, ESPN did too because you couldn't even click on him.
I'm just telling you. Shout out to Nicky Lopez, though, man. I hope things are working out for Nicky Lopez with whatever he is doing. All right, coming up on the other side, it is a game that has taken over the city. It has been some time since we have played this game, but you know why? It is the perfect time to play it. It is time to play for the first time in the 2025 season. How many people are going to Kauffman Stadium tonight? 913-586-7965. 913-586-7965. We got a Friday. The Orioles are in town. It is the first Friday of the season. How many people are going to Kauffman Stadium? We'll play next. Keep it right here. It's The Drive.
The Drive with Carrington Harrison
This man was a bona fide scrub.
on 96.5 The Fan. Brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
Look, there's feelings and then there's the facts. If you're feeling like your finance team is bogged down in mundane manual tasks, the fact is you need Ramp. Ramp is the corporate card that makes the expense process fast and easy. The moment your team makes a purchase, Ramp handles everything. Receipt collection and approvals, the works. With Ramp, you can cut your month-end close from 5 days to 1, customize approval workflows, and get complete control over every transaction. Facts. Over 25,000 businesses trust Ramp, including Shopify and the Boys and Girls Club of America, which is why they were just named #1 in spend management by G2. Facts. Start using Ramp and you'll have more time to spend scaling your business. And that'll feel really good. Upgrade to Ramp for free today and get $250 at ramp.com/radio. Ramp.com/radio. That's RAMP.com/radio.
Cards issued by Sutton Bank, members FDIC. Terms and conditions apply.
Don Sharp and the Sharp Homes team take a unique approach that transforms the typical home selling experience from a mundane process of list and hope into a seamless transaction. Dawn is so confident in her ability to sell your home that she guarantees it will be sold. If your home does not sell by the agreed-upon date, she'll personally buy it. Contact the only agent I would trust if I needed to sell my home. It's Dawn Sharp and the Sharp Homes team, brokered by Epic Realty. Visit them at homesforsaleandkc.com and start packing.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, millions of men experience ED, but not everyone can access or afford treatments like Viagra. At HIMSS, our own board-certified urologist, Dr. Peter Stahl, knows this better than anyone, and he knows that HIMSS can help.
Hi, I'm Dr. Peter Stahl, Senior Vice President of Men's Sexual Health at HIMSS. I've helped many guys with ED, and it has never been more convenient to treat than it is right now, thanks to HIMSS.
Through HIMSS.com, you can access a full range of treatment options for ED, including daily or as-needed meds through a 100% online process. If prescribed, your medication is shipped to you for free. Find the ED treatment that fits your needs. Options at up to 95% less than the brand names when you get started at hims.com/joy. To start your free online visit and find ED treatment at up to 95% less than brand name prices, go to hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy for your free online visit.
I had the worst dream last night. You were in a car crash and the kids and I were on our own. We had to move out of the house because I couldn't afford it anymore.
That's awful, hon.
My brother got life insurance from Ethos, and it only took 10 minutes. And he got $2 million in coverage for around $2 a day. It's all online, no medical exam. He just answered a few health questions right from his house.
Ethos, here we come.
Visit ethos.com/sports. Ethos.com/sports.
Sample Rate is a 10-year term life policy for 35-year-old healthy, non-smoking male. Billed monthly.
Thank you for making Total Wine & More America's #1 online source for spirits, beer, and wine. Better than all those delivery apps. Total Wine's prices are up to 30% lower with super fast delivery and no hidden fees. Order direct Connect at TotalWine.com and pay less today.
Drink responsibly, B21.
Check engine or ABS light on? Take the guesswork out of your warning lights with O'Reilly Veriscan. It's free. Ask for O'Reilly Veriscan.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
College holds a mythic place in American culture, but there are stories you won't hear on the campus tours.
The higher-ups are concerned about one thing, and that is avoiding scandal.
I'm Margot Gray. On the new podcast, Campus Files, we cover everything from rigged admissions to the drama of Greek life and student protests. Listen to and follow Campus Files, an Odyssey original podcast. Available now on the free Odyssey app and wherever you get your podcasts.
When dealing with erectile dysfunction, you want the right treatment for your specific needs. And every case is different, and finding the right solution can make the difference between okay and amazing. That's why Heartland Men's Health is Kansas City's leader in treating men's sexual health issues. ED can cause anxiety, stress, and a strain in your relationship, yet many men suffer silently without seeking treatment. Intimacy is one of life's greatest experiences, but ED can completely destroy it. Heartland Men's Health offers treatment when herbs and pills don't work. With success rates of over 90%, some treatments can help you last an hour or more. So why settle for good enough? Your first visit is just $99, which includes a medical consult, a T and PSA test, and if medically advised, a test dose. And if that test dose doesn't work, then your visit is on the house. Heartland Men's Health has 3 locations to serve you in the metro: Overland Park, Independence, and North Kansas City. Pick up the phone today and change your life. Call this number, 844-447-6600, or visit heartlandmenshealth.com today.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the Mission Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling Studios.
Kane is in the building.
Welcome to your home for Kansas City sports. 96.5 The Fan.
All right, welcome back into the show. Coming up in about 5 minutes or so, we will get to the Final Four. I want to give you guys my thoughts on that. We'll also talk about Ja Morant, who once again finds himself in the news for basically the same thing. I mean, it's deja vu all over again. We just keep finding ourselves trapped in the exact same story when it comes to Ja Morant. We'll talk about that coming up in a bit. But before we do any of that, this is a game that is sweeping the city. It doesn't matter what part of the city you're in. It doesn't matter if you're in Liberty. It doesn't matter if you're in Olathe. It doesn't matter if you go to high school at Gardner, Edgerton, or Center High School. Everybody is talking about this. Hey, you guys know how many people are going to Kauffman Stadium tonight? The people want to know. They don't just want to hear from me. They want to hear from you. JT, hit the music. It is time to play the city's favorite game for the first time in 2025. How many people are going to Kauffman Stadium tonight? You guys know the rules. Price is Right style. Closest to the attendance without going over wins a prize. Now, I'll be fully transparent. I don't know what the prize is right now because Rob is not here. If Rob was here, he could tell you exactly what the prize is. There will be a prize. I just don't know what it is. So we'll take your information, and when you win, you know what the first thing I'm going to have Rob do when he gets back? I'm not going to ask Rob, oh, hey, how was your trip? No, we need you to call the winner of how many people are going to Kauffman Stadium tonight. I just want us to all be on the same page. All right, Lance, I appreciate you calling into the show. Hopefully you have told one person to listen to the show. It is a very, very simple rule. Closest to the number of attendance without going over, you win a prize. How many people are going out to the first Friday Royals game of the 2025 season?
23,456.
23,456. All right, let me put you on hold. All right, Joel, how are you doing today? Let's start with this. How many people you got going out to Kauffman Stadium tonight?
Let's say 24,922.
24,922. All right, Joel, I appreciate you. Aaron, I will ask you the same question I have asked everybody else. It is the first Friday of the year for the Royals. How many people you got going out there tonight?
I got 21,918.
21,918. All right, we put you on hold here. Ivan, you are last up. Appreciate you listening to the show. Hopefully you're out there staying dry. I will ask you the same question I've asked everybody else. How many people are going to Kauffman Stadium tonight?
21,400.
21,400. All right, we put you on hold here. Special thanks to everybody for playing. JT, before we move on and talk a little college basketball, how many people do you have going out to the game today?
Well, my guess is way lower than what they have out there, so makes me kind of worried. But I think the weather's going to keep some people away. I've got 17,565 people going.
All right, 17,565. If I was Ivan, I would have went $1. I would have went $1 for the reason that you said. It's not incredibly warm outside. I do think the weather is going to scare some people off, and some people plan on going to Royals games. They're just not going on April 4th in this weather. I'm around you. I think it's going to be, give me 18-6. I'll take 18-6 out at Kauffman Stadium later today. Hopefully you got everybody's information. JT's got everybody's information. Thank you guys for calling in for another edition of How Many People Are Going Out to Kauffman Stadium Tonight. All right, let's talk a little bit of college basketball. Let's talk a little bit about the Final Four. We have two matchups coming up tomorrow in the Final Four. We have an SEC matchup between Florida and Auburn. We also have a game between Houston and Duke. Let's start with the first game of the day in college basketball. There has not been a team that has been hotter or played more consistent basketball in the month of March than Florida has. They started off this month with the win against Texas A&M. They have beaten Alabama. They beat Missouri. They beat Ole Miss. They beat Alabama a second time at a neutral site. They beat Tennessee. They beat UConn, Maryland, Texas Tech, and now they find themselves in the national championship. There is not a thing that Florida is lacking to advance in this NCAA tournament. What I like most about this Florida team and why I picked them to go to the Final Four is I believe that they have the best guard remaining in this tournament. Walter Clayton Jr. has been a dog these last handful of weeks. An absolute dog. And what I think the tournament, what your team needs most in the tournament is, we talk a lot about coaching, and obviously coaching is going to put you in a position. But you know ultimately what you need? You need a guy that can go get you a bucket. You need a guy that when the shot clock is going down can knock down big shots and can score. And that is exactly what Florida has. They have had two uncomfortable games in this NCAA tournament. They had one against UConn back in the round of 32. He was 5 of 8 from 3 and scored 23 points. Against Texas Tech, when their back was absolutely up against the wall, when Texas Tech had a 94% win probability to advance to the Final Four, Walter Clayton Jr. took over. He was 17 of 14 from the floor. He was 13 of 14 from the free throw line and had 30 points. That's what you need in this NCAA tournament. You need a guy that will go get you a bucket. And I think he has been the best at that from the guard position in college basketball. It's really, really difficult to pick against Florida in this game, given how they have played over the last 6 weeks or so in college basketball and how they have really come together as a team and as a unit in this one. They are a small favorite in their matchup against Auburn. Now, I got to give Auburn this. I think that Auburn was the best team in the country leading up until the NCAA tournament. Probably even a little bit back further than that. I would say heading into March, I thought that Auburn was the best team in the country. They certainly played like the best team in the country. Now, they fell into a little bit of a hardship there toward the end of the regular season, and they dropped 3 of their last 4 in the SEC tournament and in the regular season, and they hit a little bit of a rough patch. But they have completely started to figure things out when it's absolutely the best time to figure things out. You got Janai Broome, who was the second best player in college basketball this season, and they haven't really been challenged that much in the tournament. Now, they had that weird stretch in game 1 against Alabama State. Not that that matters too much. They handled business against Creighton. They beat Michigan, and then they turn around and they beat Michigan State. And I think they controlled the game a little bit better than the score would advocate for how I think Auburn played. I'm going to pick Florida to win in that matchup. I do think that Florida is playing better. I think that Florida has more things than Auburn does. I think that Florida is going to the national championship game. I think they're going to beat Auburn on Saturday night. And then you've got the second game between the number 1 offense and the number 1 defense in Duke and Houston. Now, we all know about this Duke Blue Devil team. Duke is led by one of the best freshmen that we have ever seen. He just was named AP Player of the Year for Duke. So Cooper Flagg has been the best player in this tournament. You want to talk about a team that hasn't been tested, that hasn't been challenged at all in this tournament. They beat Baylor by 23. They beat Arizona, and they 20-balled Alabama. Alabama scored 113 points in the Sweet 16. They scored 65 points against this Duke Blue Devil team. They have been the most well-rounded and complete team, which you would never think from a team that starts 3 freshmen that they would be the best defensive and certainly the most complete team that we've seen in this tournament. All of it is really led by Cooper Flagg. It's led by his offensive ability and his ability to get his teammates involved. It's led by him on defense and him being a rim protector, a guy that can block shots. It's led by him being a great facilitator and a passer. I picked Houston to win the national championship when this tournament first started. I picked Florida and Houston to play in the national championship. I still think Florida is going to play for the national championship. At this point, I think it's hard to pick against Duke. I think they are more well-rounded than Houston is. I think they're a little bit more complete than what I think Houston is. And it just feels like this is Duke's tournament. It feels like this is the coronation of the next great American phenom, which is what Cooper Flagg is, and it's turning out to be. And it also seems like this is going to be Jon Scheyer's world, and we are just simply living in it. Do you guys know somebody that things always seem to work out for them? No matter what it is, things just always seem to work out. You kind of think, man, you know what? I think I got the best of them. Nope. Every single time it works out for Duke. I know I felt that way about Duke when they lost Coach K's last home game and Coach K's last game to North Carolina. I'll admit, my heart smiled. I don't even have anything against Duke. Just sometimes I like to be a hater. Sometimes I like to see the favorite lose. That's what makes sports fun, is you can't win all the time. I was a little happy. And I was thinking to myself, hey, you know what? Somebody else is finally going to start winning. Duke, who has been terrorizing the rest of us for as long as I can remember, that time's over. I mean, North Carolina's not terrorizing us anymore. They got rid of their coach. There's certain blue blood teams that they're not doing the same thing anymore because that coach isn't there anymore. Duke just handed things off from Coach K to Jon Scheyer. And in Jon Scheyer's, third year as the head coach of the Duke Blue Devils? They just get the number 1 high school recruit, and then they go to the national championship? Doesn't seem fair. Doesn't seem fair. That's not how life's supposed to be. Duke isn't allowed to have everything, but they're just allowed to have everything. They have a 37-year-old head coach who is making a claim of being the best coach in college basketball. They got the number 1 recruit. I think that Knipple is coming back next year. I think that Tyrese Proctor is coming back next year. Duke will probably be ranked preseason number 1. They got Carlos Boozers. He has 2 sons. They're twins. Both of them are going to Duke next year. They're never going to be out of our lives. We thought we had them. It was like that Geico commercial. Oh, gotcha. That's what we thought happened to Duke. No. They're going to win this national championship. Cooper Flagg's going to score 26 points in the national championship. He's going to be the most outstanding player. He's going to be the number 1 overall pick. And then Duke will probably win it again next year because they're the Duke Blue Devils. So I have Florida winning the first game up against Auburn, and what should be a really fun, tightly contested SEC. These two teams know each other, run up and down the court. And I think in the second game, it is very, very intriguing. You got a very physical, very experienced team in Houston, and you have that team going up against the Duke Blue Devils. But with the way that this tournament has gone so far and with the way that Duke has clearly been head and shoulders above the competition, I don't think you can pick Houston to win this game. I got Florida and Duke playing each other on Monday night for the national championship.
As much as I want to disagree with your picks, I can't because I have Florida in my national championship as well. And in my bracket that I actually made, I had the winner of the Houston-Gonzaga game making it to the Final Four. They get there, but I thought Duke was the better team. The only thing I have a question about Duke, and it might be the silliest question, is how will they compete when it gets down into crunch time? Because you haven't seen them really compete with a team in crunch time. They've always been blowing the teams out. So when the time gets closer and they're still close with another opponent, how do they handle that pressure down the stretch?
That's a great question. I thought that was going to be their problem. That's why I didn't pick them to go to the Final Four, because I didn't think they were tested enough in the ACC, and I thought eventually somebody was going to punch them in the face. No one's done that yet. I've seen them play 4 straight games, and they have control of the last 3. The Mount St. Mary's game, let's not even count that. That's an organized scrimmage. I mean, you have just seen Duke just clear head and shoulders above every other team in college basketball so far in this tournament, and I expect that to continue. I do have this, and KU fans, this is a take that I come in peace. I don't mean this take to be negative. I'm using this as an example. I think Houston is what Kansas is trying to be, and I know that sounds weird for a team that is now in your conference. But if you look at Houston's top 4 players, it is a balance of what I think you guys want to be. You got LJ Cryer, who started his career at Baylor, but has now played 2 seasons at Houston and has been one of the best guards in the Big 12. Talking about a senior, veteran point guard, has high-level experience, that has played a lot of high-state games and is averaging 15 points a night. You then look at their second leading scorer, Emmanuel Sharp. This is a guy who has played all 3 of his years at the University of Houston. So this is a guy that is the typical Jayhawk recruit. You know the system well. You've been coached by Kelvin Sampson. You know the program. You know the expectations. You've stayed. You waited your turn, and now you are going to the Final Four. You look at their third leading scorer, Milos Uzan. You look at him, maybe a guy you're not super familiar with. He transfers over. He, high major experience, played really well, coming in, fulfilling a role. You then look at their fourth leading scorer. They have 4 guys that average over double figures. Jawan Roberts, another guy who has been in the system, knows the system, tough, has been there now all 5 of his college basketball seasons, has been there. A guy that isn't going to get a lot of pub, isn't going to get a lot of national conversation. This is what Kansas used to be. This is what Kansas used to be. 3 or 4 starters that have been there for a while. You look inside the transfer portal. You grab a couple of things that you need. It's not really a one-and-done transfer portal situation. If you're going to grab somebody, you grab somebody that's a sophomore or junior that's going to be there for a couple years and mold into Bill Self's system. It sounds funny to say, and I don't think I've ever said this before about a KU team and how we perceive them to be in the Big 12. But if the program that they are aspiring to be in this new transfer portal era is in their conference, and it's Houston, that is what Houston has built over the last couple of years. They've won the Big 12 in back-to-back seasons, and they currently find themselves in line to win a national championship. Let's keep the college basketball conversation going. I want to play one piece of audio for you guys. Former NBA players are crazy. They're crazy. So this is the conversation. Tracy McGrady, all-star, should have been on the NBA 75, one of the best basketball players that we have ever seen. He is on a podcast, and he is asked a question. How many current NBA players could you take out of the NBA, you put them on the worst NCAA tournament team, and then that team would be the favorite to win the NCAA championship? So in theory, if you took LeBron off of the Lakers and you put him on Mount St. Mary's, could they win the NCAA championship? Tracy McGrady was asked this question. Here was his answer.
how many players can you add to a 16 seed in the NCAA tournament that can elevate them to a national title? I think Alex Caruso talked about this. I think he said around 27, 30 guys.
He only said 26?
He said 27.
Yeah, he said 27.
And I think he was being conservative because he wanted to say more.
Yeah, it's 450 players and only 27? No chance. The number is way higher than that.
Do you think like half the league?
For sure.
That's kind of what I was
Are
saying.
we talking based off of who they are right now, this present time?
Yeah.
Yes.
Hell yeah.
Like present Giannis on Alabama State. Are you kidding me?
I think he would be considered in the 27 that he was listing.
Well, you know what I'm trying to say, though.
Yeah, but
there's many others out there.
It's more guys. I mean, I would take a guy like Norman Powell. No one would ever mention someone like Norman Powell, right?
Most
He
improved.
would definitely go and change somebody's team.
I can agree with that.
It's more than 27.
Norman Powell.
He said Norman Powell.
Come on now. Come on,
man.
Hey,
We love it.
Hey, I'm not trying to disrespect NBA players. I know they can hoop. We know they can hoop. There's no question. There's NBA players right now in the tournament. There's NBA players on all teams. Guys that are next year going to be in the NBA and contributing. Their teams lose in the tournament to other teams that also have NBA dudes. Sure, I'm not saying it's zero players. Yes, if you put Giannis on the worst team in the tournament, they're making a run. They could possibly win this thing. No question. I'm sorry, man. You're not putting Scotty Barnes on Alabama State and telling me they're winning the national championship. No chance.
Well, here's a question, Carrington. Do you think, because I'm at this mode, okay, Cooper Flagg, you take him and you put him on Mount St. Mary's. You're not taking Mount St. Mary's to make a run, are you? With Cooper Flagg?
What seed are they?
The 16, I'm saying.
It'd be interesting. No. the answer is probably no.
Okay.
It would be very interesting. No one is saying that NBA dudes can't hoop. They obviously can hoop. I'm sorry. If you put Quentin Grimes on the 16 seed, they ain't winning the national championship. Stop it. You got to have other good teammates. Even if you think Quentin Grimes is going down there and dropping 30 and 40, you got to have teammates, right? You got to pass the ball to other guys at some point. They got to be able to knock down shots. They got to be able to play defense. This is crazy talk. I don't know what it is with NBA players. They're not sane human beings. They're genuinely not sane people. No. The answer is probably somewhere around 15. Probably. Their number is probably around 15. There's 15, maybe 20 guys that tomorrow, if you just took them off an NBA team and you put them on a low major program, they'd be the best team in college basketball. Yes, Giannis, Jokic. Yes, there's a handful of those individuals. If you put prime LeBron on the worst team, yes, they would be good. I'm not believing that if you put some of these dudes. I'm not believing if you put Alex Caruso on the worst college team. I just ain't believing it. Or Austin Reeves. I'm sorry.
Dalton Knecht. Come on, man.
Dalton Knecht can hoop. A great player. I'm sorry. I'm not buying it.
He didn't even take Tennessee to the Final Four.
I'm not buying it. You're telling me Zach Edey, if you put Zach Edey, I saw Zach Edey lose to a 16 seed when he was at Purdue. Now you can put him on Fairleigh Dickinson. They would win the championship. It just doesn't make any sense to me. I'm not buying it. Coming up on the other side, let's talk a little bit of NFL draft. We'll get back to the Final Four coming up at the top of the hour. Let's talk a little bit about the NFL draft, as today Colorado had their pro day, and basically everybody was there to watch Shedeur Sanders and watch Travis Hunter. That's coming up. Keep it right here, so drive.
Hey, it's Lucas Ursig from the Kansas City Royals. You're listening to The Drive with CDOT on 96.5 The Fan.
Brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook app, is the best place to bet on sports. There's absolutely a loaded sports calendar this week, and it doesn't matter if you're into basketball, baseball, hockey, or any other sport. Check out some of their exclusive promotions, Dinger Tuesday, Hump Day parlays, and golf profit boost tokens over the weekend. With baseball season here, you know I'm happy to bet on the hometown team, and hopefully the Royals can win their division this year. You can bet on that as well if you'd like to on FanDuel. And right now, new customers get $200 in bonus bets for every winning $5 bet. $200. All you got to do is win a $5 bet as a new customer. So check out FanDuel. Use my promo code KFNZ to make every moment more. 21 and present in Kansas. First online real money wager only. $5 first deposit required. Bonus issued with nominal drawable bonus bet, which expires 7 days after restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. FanDuel is offering online sports wagering in Kansas under agreement Kansas Star Casino, LLC. Gambling problem. Get up with your best bet. Call 1-800-522-4700 or visit kansasgamblinghelp.com.
Hy-Vee makes my life easier every time I visit. From pre-made meals to everything I need to grill at home, I can find at Hy-Vee. Hy-Vee is your graduation headquarters for any size celebration. They have party trays, personalized cakes, floral arrangements, and so much more. Don't miss the graduation open house on Saturday, April 5th from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m., where you can sample all of the amazing graduation party options or just get a little inspiration. Let Hy-Vee handle everything this graduation season, even full-service catering, only at Hy-Vee.
It's that time of year. Fire up the grill and get your backyard groove on. It's Hy-Vee's good old-fashioned meat sale. We're rolling back prices on springtime favorites like bacon-wrapped chicken grillers for $3.99, specialty brats $1 each, whole boneless pork loin $1.99 a pound, and 85% ground chuck just $4.99 a pound. These crazy low prices will get you in the groove. Hustle in for big savings this Friday through Sunday only at Hy-Vee.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance specialist for university housing, he knows college students can major in wear and tear. Plus, housing so many students doesn't leave a lot of room to house all the supplies he needs. That's where Grainger comes in. With over 1 million industrial-grade products and fast, dependable delivery, Grainger carries the quality products he needs so he doesn't have to. From a new door hinge to a whole new faucet. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Check engine or ABS light on? Take the guesswork out of your warning lights with O'Reilly Veriscan. It's free. Ask for O'Reilly Veriscan.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Thank you for making Total Wine & More America's #1 online source for spirits, beer, and wine. Better than all those delivery apps. Total Wine's prices are up to 30% lower with super fast delivery and no hidden fees. Order direct at TotalWine.com and pay less today.
Drink responsibly, B21.
Diabetes, high blood pressure, anxiety meds, everyone's on them. If you're a 50-year-old male, maybe a bit porky, and you may even have type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term insurance may only cost you about $200 a month. Call Term Provider. Speak with Big Lou at 800-700-6898. Big Lou will find a term life policy for you even if you have type 2 diabetes, are overweight, or have high blood pressure. Term Provider has helped thousands of people like you who think they can't afford term life insurance. To buy $1 million of affordable term life for you, all you need to do is call Big Lou at 800-700-6898. Lou will make sure the scales are tipped in your favor. Call 800-700-6898. Big Lou will answer your call and work to fit you into a term life policy that you can afford. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He's on meds too. Call 800-700-6898. 800-700-6898 or biglou.com.
This is the story of the one who, as a maintenance specialist for a historic high-rise, knows that vintage charm historically needs constant attention. Which is why, when it's time to upgrade turn-of-the-century mechanicals, they turn to Grainger. With easy access to 1 million+ products and the scale to deliver when and where you need them. The right tools and supplies are never far away. So the one can keep that vintage building running like new. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Every morning, we rise and shine, make breakfast, and brush away the night's rest. These routines help us start the day off right. Nature-Made vitamins are a simple step in that daily care regimen. Multivitamins with daily essentials, clinically studied probiotics for gut health support, magnesium to help relax the body. Nature-Made is made to care for you every day. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. These products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
This afternoon, expect rain showers with a high of 51.
Weather brought to you by Robert Half. Robert Half's recruiting professionals use their award-winning AI to connect businesses with highly skilled talent. Learn more at roberthalf.com/talent today.
Make sure to follow The Drive on the Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts.
Let's finish our NBA conversation that we were just having. So Tracy McGrady was on a podcast, And Tracy McGrady was asked how many current NBA players could you put on Alabama State or Mount St. Mary's and they would win the national championship. Alex Caruso said that he thought it was around 27 players that you could do that for. Tracy McGrady said the number was way more. I think that it's crazy. People on the text line are saying, wait, it's way more people than that. Well, this would be my argument. We just saw Rutgers this past year. Rutgers has 2 of the top 5 picks in this upcoming NBA draft. Guys who I think will be very, very good basketball players. I think that Ace Bailey will average double digits next year in the league. With 2 of the top 5 NBA prospects, guys who will start next year on NBA teams, they did not make the NCAA tournament. This is not an argument where if you swap out an NBA player and put them on another good team, sure, of course. But this is, I'll take Derek White, for example. Derek White's probably, the 3rd, 4th best player on the Celtics? A really, really good basketball player. No question. Really good basketball player. He was on the Olympic team. Really good player. I don't think if you put Derek White on the worst team in college basketball, they win the championship. Who are you passing the ball to? That would be my argument. You just don't play with good enough teammates, I think, to be able to win the championship. I don't think that Derek White, if you drop him now in college, he's averaging 60 or 70. This isn't a 90s sitcom. I think he averages 24, 25, 27 points. You got to have somebody else that can rebound. You got to have somebody else that can defend. You got to have somebody else that can guard and do all these other things. I just don't think you got enough guys that can do it. So on the worst team, sure, if you put him on an 8-9 seed, yeah, I think that guy, yeah, absolutely. We ain't talking about putting you on Creighton. No, we're talking about putting you on Creighton State. I don't think there's 70 guys in the league that you are dropping in that scenario, and those guys are going out there and having a lot of high-level success. I don't think so. It's a fun hypothetical. I love the debate. I love the back and forth. I just don't think there's 70, 80 NBA players that you can take off of their team and then just think that you were just dropping them right in the middle of the NCAA tournament, and then their team is beating another team that has 3 or 4 future NBA players on their team. They just got more talent from top to bottom than I think you would have. So today was the Colorado Pro Day, which was really about 3 people. It was about Shedeur and Shiloh Sanders, and Shiloh actually ran a pretty decent 40 time, and it also was about Travis Hunter. Now, Travis Hunter had the energy that I would have if I'm Travis Hunter. I don't need to do any of these workouts. You guys saw me play football. You've seen me. I was the best player in college football this past year. No, I don't need to run the 40 for you. I don't need to run routes or do any of these things for you. And I think that more guys who are in Travis's position, and it's certainly a unique position, I don't have anything to prove by doing these pro days. If you're the kind of prospect that he is, it only hurts you to keep working out. It doesn't help you. If you want to learn more about Travis Hunter, my stance would be very simple. Turn the tape on. You can see me at the absolute highest level on both sides of the ball. Why don't you break this up and have half of your people break down my offensive snaps and have half of the people break down the defensive snaps? Because I think that I could be a Pro Bowl caliber player on either side of the ball if I focus on it into the pros. I commend Travis Hunter for not really wanting to work out in these things. No, I'm not doing drills. Maybe I'll run some routes, which it sounds like he did. He did go out there and run a few routes and do a little bit, but you guys have seen me play before, and you have broken down my film you got 2 years of watching me do this at the Big 12, at a championship level, the highest D1 level, and you have enough film of me doing this on offense and defense to determine if you want to use a draft pick on me. Now, Shedeur is a really, really interesting case study. I think he is by far and away the most interesting prospect that is in this entire NFL draft. I mean, the answer probably is Travis because you're not sure how the league sees him. Do they see him as wide receiver number 1? Do they see him as corner number 1? What if they only were looking at him solely as a wide receiver? Well, would he be a top 3 pick in the NFL draft? What if he says, I don't want to play defense in the National Football League? Does that affect his draft stock? So he's probably the right answer. But Shedeur, and you think about, A, the pedigree, his pops, You then think about the, I would say, strengths that he has and the weaknesses that he has, and where is he going to go? Anything, you can convince me of literally anything that could happen with Shedeur. You could tell me that Cleveland has been lying this entire time and that Cleveland really likes Shedeur and they'll take him with the number 2 overall pick, that they have fooled us. They have pulled a rabbit out of their hat, the wool over our eyes, and that they plan on taking him with the number 2 overall pick. It would make sense to me. You could tell me that the Giants, even though they've done all of this where they signed Russell Wilson and they've signed Jameis Winston, that they really like Shedeur and they want him to sit and learn from 2 veterans and they're going to hand him the keys to the car next season. You could convince me of that too. Or you could convince me that if those 2 teams don't like Shedeur, he's going to be playing the waiting game. And we've seen that waiting game before. We've seen that with Brady Quinn. We've seen that with Jordan Love. We've seen that with Aaron Rodgers. There usually is, Will Levis a couple of years ago, there usually is one quarterback that got to sit. There's one quarterback that's got to sit there and watch the rest of the show. And they keep panning on them, and you keep seeing their nervousness, and you can see every pick that goes by, it is money being lifted out of their pocket, airdropped out of their pocket. I think that player could be Shedeur. I think he is the most interesting prospect in this draft because we don't know how the league views him. You guys know my stance on Shedeur. I think he is a good player. I think he's a good prospect. I have my questions if he is a great prospect. And if I ask you to describe your quarterback and the first thing you lead with are intangibles, that tells me what I need to know, and I'm not using a top 10 pick on that player. When I asked you to describe Deshaun Watson when he was coming out of Clemson, you could use things that you saw on the field. When you look at Patrick Mahomes, the arm strength, it was the talent, it jumped off the screen. I don't think it does that with Shedeur. So that's not what I'm spending the 2nd overall pick on. That's not what I'm spending the number 3 overall pick on. That's something I would spend the 22nd overall pick on. That's something that I would spend the 26th overall pick. You trade back up into the first round with the playoff team, and then you go get your quarterback. But I am not running to the board for a player that screams intangibles to me, and he doesn't scream size or speed or athleticism or arm strength or any of the things that I think you need to be an elite quarterback in this league. If I ask you right now who are the 5 best quarterbacks in the league, they're because of physical traits. It's because of Mahomes' arm strength. It's because of his creativity. It's because of Josh Allen's size and durability. Lamar Jackson, the best mobile quarterback that we have possibly ever seen. Joe Burrow. Sure, they have the intangibles. There's a physical part of their game that exists too. I'm not sure if that exists with Shedeur Sanders, and that would really scare me off using a high draft pick.
Yeah, I think people are trying to – I love the new narrative like, oh, well, what if the Cowboys go out, trade up, get him, and then they can bring in Dion? I'm like, I just don't see it happening. I feel like everyone thinks if they get Shedeur, they're going to get his dad, and it's just not going to happen. He's staying in Colorado. I think he wants to help and develop kids. And so I think Shedeur is more of a – I'm a little more lower on him. I think he's more of a 10 to 15 round pick. Not round, but 10 to 15 pick in the NFL draft because of the so-and-so traits. I think Cam Ward is the best quarterback in this draft. And then I think it goes the defensive end from Penn State, and then you could go Hunter. That's how I feel with the 3, and then it gets into wherever you feel. Like yesterday we were talking about Mimbu. I can't believe you would take a right tackle in the top 5. I think Shedeur could fall right around where Jackson Dart falls just because I think they kind of have similar traits, except one is way more athletic of getting outside the pocket than the other. But I think he is going a little too high in my perspective.
Yeah, I mean, we'll certainly see. I'm really intrigued to see kind of what the report is coming out of the Colorado Pro Day, which is coming up in just a little bit. It sounds to me like Travis isn't going to do a whole lot. And if you're Shedeur, you need a Pro Day. Travis doesn't need a Pro Day. He's going to be a top 5 pick regardless if he does anything else in this. He has certainly showcased that in his college career. I think if you're Shedeur, I think it is in your best interest to answer a lot of the physical questions. How fast are you? What's your arm strength? I think you got to really wow people with the measurables if you're him, and we'll obviously see if he can do it. Coming up at the top of the hour, we'll get back to college basketball. We'll get back to the Final Four. We have 2 games this weekend, and we are 3 games away in college basketball from crowning a champion. Keep it right here. It's The Drive.
The Drive with Carrington Harrison on your home for Kansas City sports. 96.5 The Fan. Brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
The finals are here, and DraftKings is offering all customers a no-sweat parlay every single day before the college basketball season ends. How does it work? Opt in and place a bet on any eligible parlay. If your bet doesn't hit, you'll get a bonus bet back in the amount of your original bet. Bet the unexpected with DraftKings Sportsbook. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use promo code 965. That's promo code 965 to get a no-sweat parlay every single day. Only on DraftKings. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 21 and over. Kansas only. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort. Eligibility and wagering restrictions apply. Opt in to get one no-sweat bet. No sweat bonus bet issued in amount of losing qualifying bet. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. Maximum reward and qualifying bet criteria vary. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/audio.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today?
I need new rotors.
When you buy 2 Duralast rotors during our spring sale, you get Duralast brake pads free.
Free?
With the rotors.
Well, that's great. What if I need extra stopping power?
You can upgrade to Duralast Gold pads for just $10.
So Duralast pads are free?
Yep.
And an upgrade is just $10?
That's right. Part of the spring sale at AutoZone.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
At Tractor Supply, we know that a winning season out here takes practice, teamwork, and a can-do attitude. Thankfully, when it comes to teamwork, it's great to have a neighbor like Tractor Supply. No matter the season, our team members are here to help. Like you, they know that nothing beats the feeling of seeing all your hard work pay off. Whether you're caring for pets, chickens, or a few acres, we have everything you need to get the most out of life out here. Season after season, Tractor Supply. For life, out here.
Look, there's feelings, and then there's the facts. If you're feeling like your finance team is bogged down in mundane manual tasks, the fact is, you need Ramp. Ramp is the corporate card that makes the expense process fast and easy. The moment your team makes a purchase, Ramp handles everything. Receipt collection and approvals, the works. With Ramp, you can cut your month-end close from 5 days to 1, customize approval workflows, and get complete control over every transaction. Facts. Over 25,000 businesses trust Ramp, including Shopify and the Boys and Girls Club of America, which is why they were just named #1 in spend management by G2. Facts. Start using Ramp and you'll have more time to spend scaling your business. And that'll feel really good. Upgrade to Ramp for free today and get $250 at ramp.com/radio. Ramp.com/radio. That's RAMP.com/radio.
Cards issued by Sutton Bank, members of FDIC. Terms and conditions apply.
Hey there, I'm Jack.
And I'm Stag.
We're just two deer that want to make sure you know it's deer season at your authorized John Deere dealer. The deer season that saves bucks. You know, like us.
Yeah, you can get $3,000 off select John Deere machines. No early wake-up calls or tree stands required.
Just a trip to your authorized dealer before June 2nd.
If you ask us, it's the only deer season worth celebrating.
Visit johndeere.com/deer season to find an authorized dealer and for complete finance details.
I had the worst dream last night. You were in a car crash and the kids and I were on our own. We had to move out of the house because I couldn't afford it anymore.
That's awful, hon.
My brother got life insurance from Ethos and it only took 10 minutes. And he got $2 million in coverage for around $2 a day. It's all online. No medical exam. He just answered a few health questions right from his house.
Ethos, here we come.
Visit ethos.com/sports. Ethos.com/sports.
Sample rate is a 10-year term life policy for 35-year-old healthy, non-smoking male. Billed monthly.
Thank you for making Total Wine & More America's #1 online source for spirits, beer, and wine. Better than all those delivery apps. Total Wine's prices are up to 30% lower with super fast delivery and no hidden fees. Order direct at TotalWine.com and pay less today.
Drink responsibly, B21.
Check engine or ABS light on? Take the guesswork out of your warning lights with O'Reilly Veriscan. It's free. Ask for O'Reilly Veriscan.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
The technicians you can trust with your house keys. Anthony Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electric.
Reliable backup power starts with expert installation done right the first time.
Get $50 off any service with a whole home generator proposal. Schedule your consultation today at AnthonyPHCE.com.
Kansas City, this is Michael Massey. Listen to the play-by-play all season long with Denny, Jake, Ryan, and Stu right here on your home for Royals baseball. 96.5 The Fan.
KFNC FM and AM, HD1 and HD2, Kansas City, an Odyssey sports station.
Let's talk a little college basketball and get you ready for the Final Four with Stephen Wiseman. He is the co-host of the Believe in Duke podcast. As Duke, they play up against Houston in the Final Four coming up on Saturday. Let's head to the phone lines right now. Steve, happy to have you join us today.
Hey, thanks for having me on. It's a beautiful day here in San Antonio.
Absolutely. Let's just start with this. What is it like to watch Cooper Flagg game in, game out, and watch his game and grow and develop over the course of this season?
Yeah, it's been a pretty cool thing. I'm a beat writer for the Raleigh newspaper as well, so I get to travel to every game home and road. And seeing him come in as a 17-year-old last summer with all the expectations and hype and everything, and just kind of seeing him grow and develop has been pretty cool. I mean, he's had to, adjust like anything else, and he's a lot better player now than he was in November, which is pretty scary because he was pretty good in November, but he's a whole lot better now, and he's clearly ready for the NBA this summer to make him the number one pick.
There was a lot of conversation that he could potentially come back. Is that just kind of internet talk and a kid in the middle of a fun college season, or is there a real possibility that Cooper Flagg comes back to Durham next year?
No, there's less than zero. That's zero possibility of that happening. That was, yes, kids having fun in college. I remember 6 years ago, Zion Williamson going through the same thing. He was having a great time at Duke. And he kept putting off making his final decision, even though it was obvious what he had to do because he was going to be the number one pick. And obviously he ended up going. And Cooper's going through the same thing. These kids have a lot of fun. And again, he's a teenager, and this is a cool time in life to be in college and be playing with other kids your age. But it's going to be his job here pretty soon, full time, and it's going to be ready for him. And yeah, he's going to be going to the NBA. There's no doubt about it.
What's the thing that has impressed you most about his game? I think back to just a couple of games ago when they were playing Arizona, and just his feel for the game, his IQ, and his passing ability. You don't really see that much from a guy that his size and his age, how you could tell that he was in complete control of the game on both offense and defense. You watch him far more closely than I do. What has impressed you most about him this season?
Yeah, it's that kind of what you just said, but it's his ability to identify what his team needs and when they need it. And he can have a game like against Arizona where he had 30 points last Thursday in the Sweet 16, or he can have a game where he doesn't shoot as much and he only scores 15 or 16 and has 7 or 8 assists and he has 6, 7, 8 rebounds. Kind of whatever he senses the team needs, he delivers. And to have that level of IQ at this age is pretty striking, and it's why he's a prodigy.
Where do you think he ranks in some of the great players that Duke has had in years past? I understand it's just one season, so it's impossible to compare him to a Christian Laettner, for example, who stayed there for all 4 years. But Duke has certainly dipped their toe into the one-and-done waters. You had Kyrie Irving, you had Jahlil Okafor, you had Zion Williamson. You've had some really good freshman players. Where would you say that Cooper ranks?
Yeah, and my first year on this job was Kyrie's aborted freshman year because of the injury, right? But so I got to see him play in person, the little bit that he played. So it's a lot of the freshmen that you compare him to. And you're right, it's not fair to compare him to Laettner or even Grant Hill, Danny Ferry. Think about all the great players Duke's had in the past when guys stayed multiple years. Because if he stayed and grew as a college player, he would be, surpass all of them. Cooper would, I think. But even just his 1 year, puts him up on near the top of the list in accomplishments because he's leading this team in every category. And that's almost unheard of for you to do that on a team that's really good. You can do that on a team that's average because you're the best guy and you're taking all the shots. But he's doing this on a championship level team. And it reminds me a little bit of Zion his year because there's such a focus and such a hype on him. But Zion was more, he was a highlight reel every night with the dunks and things he did. Cooper does more things on the court to impact the game. And that's not saying Zion was a poor defender or a poor passer. He was pretty good, but he wasn't to the level Cooper is.
Right now, we're talking to Steve Wiseman, who covers the Duke Blue Devils, getting you ready for the Final Four. We'll get his pick in that game. We'll also get his pick in the game opposing it on the opposite side between Florida and Auburn. Take us through this transition going from Coach K, because they say you never want to be the guy that replaces the guy, and we've certainly seen that's the case. I mean, Villanova has already fired their head coach after Jay Wright. It feels like, at least from the outside, this has been a very seamless transition going from Coach K to now John Shire.
Yeah, it was interesting that Kay and Jay Wright both stepped aside the same year, wasn't they? They were both in the Final Four together, and then stepped aside. Although Kay's was planned before that, but yeah, it's impossible to say this hasn't been a success because in the short term they won the ACC the first year post K, and then John totally rebuilt the team after his second season. I mean, he made the Elite Eight, but that wasn't good enough, and he built it around Cooper Flag, and now look where they are. They're back in the Final Four. Just 3 years ago, in 2022, Coach K's last year, they made the Final Four. So, yes, all you have to do is look at other examples of where it didn't work, and there was a lot of fear this wouldn't work. But I think the way that Coach K set it up, where he announced his plans the summer before that to allow John to work alongside him and recruit an entire team, knowing they were going to play for him and him only, really made the difference. And it was it's something Coach K borrowed from his time in the military. That's what they do in the military when somebody's going to retire. His replacement works alongside him for a few months to kind of get up to speed. And so it worked out really well in this situation.
Taking a look at this game between Duke and Houston, you have the number one offense on Kim Palm going up against the number one defense, but both of these teams on the opposite side, whether it's the offense or defense, we're talking about two of the more complete teams in college basketball. Where do you think the Duke has the advantage heading into this matchup? Where do you think they have the disadvantage heading into their game against Houston?
Well, I think Duke has the advantage in guarding the three-point line and shutting down Houston. That's the best part of Houston's offense, and it's a good offense. I think they're 10th in Ken Palm, which, it's top 10. It's among these Final Four teams, it's low, but it's still pretty dang good nationally. So, but they're a really good three-point shooting team. But if you look at the way Duke defended the three against Alabama, Alabama made a tournament record 25 threes to beat BYU in the Sweet 16. The very next game, Duke completely shut down that part of their game. Alabama had no chance, and they won by 20. So that tells you the level of defense Duke can play on the perimeter, as well as having the tallest team in the country and able to guard the rim. So I think if that's where Duke has the advantage. They'll be able to shut down Houston's offense if things go the way we expect them to.
How is John really quick, I'm sorry to cut you off there. How has John Shire been able to do this defensively with a team that is centered around so many young players? I mean, Flag is a young player. Knippel's a young player. Like, we're not talking about this as an experienced, veteran-laden team. How has he got this young team to buy in defensively?
Yeah, it's something they did, from the day one when they got on campus last summer. It was like, this is our foundation. This is what we're going to be. We are going to be a great defensive team. But it also helps to have the personnel. They are the tallest team in the country. They brought in Malik Brown, a 6'9" junior forward from a transfer from Syracuse. They brought in Mason Gillis, a 6'6", experienced guy who played on Purdue's team last year that went to the championship game. Sion James is 6'6", 225, kind of looks like a linebacker out there, the way he can guard on the perimeter. Just physically tough players that are experienced. So to go on with those great freshmen and those tall freshmen, Kamal Maliwatch, at 7'2", and Cooper at 6'9", Duke has experienced guys, too, that they brought in last summer that really made this an elite defensive team.
Right now, we're taking a couple more minutes to get you ready for the Final Four. I'm sorry I cut you off there at the end. Where are you worried about when it comes to this game? What I would be worried about looking at it from a Duke perspective is just the experience that Houston has. This is a team that has 4 or 5 guys that have played a lot of high-level basketball, and this is one of those kind of games where Duke just doesn't have as many of those players.
No question about it, and that's exactly where I was going because of, L.J. Cryer and Emmanuel Sharp and Roberts, Juwan Roberts in the middle. All these guys have played so many games, so many big-time games. This year in the Big 12, the matchups they had to face there and win were incredible. So that gives them an advantage over, the Duke guys that haven't been there. Tyrese Proctor is the only guy that's really been there for Duke in games like this. Mason Gillis has at Purdue, so that's an advantage for him, but not for Duke. So that does give Houston an advantage, and I want to see if they can, try to turn Duke over and get some transition offense going. Duke's been susceptible to that every once in a while. Not a lot because they've only lost 3 games, but every once in a while that'll happen. they'll turn the ball over a little bit too much. And so if Houston can get that going and kind of get Duke out of their offense, that's what I'd be concerned with.
I picked Houston to win the national championship when the brackets first came out. I'm now switching my pick. This just feels like Duke's tournament. They have just been head and shoulders better than everybody else in college basketball so far through the first 2 weekends of it. With one more weekend to go, I think you have to kind of side with them in this matchup.
Yeah, and when I filled up my bracket, I had Duke winning it, so I want to stick with that. But I will say that their win over Alabama really turned a lot of people's opinions, and I was kind of skeptical too because I knew the ACC wasn't as strong this year. But I saw them beat Illinois by 43, and beat Auburn at home, but they did beat Auburn. So I just thought they were the better team going in. But when the win over Alabama really convinced me even further and a lot of people that, wow, this is a great Alabama team, and they just kind of ran them off the court. So they're taking care of their business. This team's pretty mature for a young team.
Steven, I don't think people hate Duke the way that they used to maybe 5 years ago. Are you getting that same feeling? I mean, I'm not saying they're people's favorite team, but you remember there for a while there. They were like the evil empire. They were like the Yankees or the Red Sox. I don't know. Maybe it's Coach K retiring. Maybe it's just the changes in college basketball. People don't hate Duke the way that they used to.
I do think it has something to do with Coach K retiring. I do think John Shire's a different person. That's not a knock on Coach K. He just had 42 years of TV time, right? And the things that he did, and so and he beat people's brains in a lot of times. So that's going to conjure up some hate. But John's a different coach, and he's having a level of success. The team. I mean, Cooper Flagg is a pretty humble guy. He does commercials and stuff, but he's not a villain. He doesn't seem like a villain at all, and so that does help. And I know from in my own office in Raleigh, where I work, when I'm in there and being on Zoom meetings, we have a lot of graduates from NC State and Carolina that work in our office, and there are some Carolina fans, graduates in our office that are like, you know what, I don't hate this Duke team, and they almost bite their tongue when they say it. They can't believe they don't hate them. But there are others that still do because it's a rivalry and it's a great neighborhood to work in.
Who do you have Duke playing in the national championship?
Well, I got him playing Auburn, and that's what I have from the beginning. And it's because when we walked out of Cameron Indoor Stadium late December the 4th after Duke and Auburn played that great game in the SEC-ACC Challenge, my writer friends and I were all like, if we could replay this on April 7th, we'll take it, and we'll be very happy. And so I still think that's going to happen. But Walter Clayton Jr. has proven to be a cheat code in this tournament for Florida, and somebody's got to knock him out, and nobody's done it yet. So I'm not sure Auburn's going to beat him, but I'm still going to go with Auburn as my pick.
That is Steve Wiseman joining us on the show. He is the host of the Believe in Duke podcast. Duke is the favorite to win the national championship. They play in the Final Four on Saturday night against Houston. Steve, I think I speak for everybody. I just want 2 great games. I don't think that we can go wrong with whatever the national championship is at this point. So I just want to see 3 great entertaining games over the next couple of days in college basketball.
That's what we're hoping for, and we have the top 4 teams, 4 number 1 seeds, the top 4 teams in Ken Palm. This is an incredible Final Four. Let's savor it.
Absolutely. That is Steve Wiseman joining us on the show today. Appreciate you, Steve.
All right, thanks.
Absolutely. That is Steve Wiseman joining us on the show. He is the host of the Believe in Duke podcast. Coming up on the other side, let's get back to the Royals as they are back in town for the second time this season against the Baltimore Orioles. Keep it right here, so drive.
Hey, it's Cole Reagans from the Kansas City Royals. You're listening to The Drive with CDOT on 96.5 The Fan.
Brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook app, is the best place to bet on sports. There's absolutely a loaded sports calendar this week, and it doesn't matter if you're into basketball, baseball, hockey, or any other sport. Check out some of their exclusive promotions, Dinger Tuesday, Hump Day parlays, and golf profit boost tokens over the weekend. With baseball season here, you know I'm happy to bet on the hometown team, and hopefully the Royals can win their division this year. You can bet on that as well if you'd like to on FanDuel. And right now, new customers get $200 in bonus bets for every winning $5 bet. $200. All you got to do is win a $5 bet as a new customer. So check out FanDuel. Use my promo code KFNZ to make every moment more. 21 and present in Kansas. First online real money wager only. $5 first deposit required. Bonus issued with nominal drawable bonus bet, which expires 7 days after restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. FanDuel is offering online sports wagering in Kansas under agreement Kansas Star Casino, LLC. Gambling problem? Get in with your best bet. Call 1-800-522-4700. Raise the KansasGamblingHelp.com.
The grass pad man has all the seed you need. Now, who can make your lawn thick, lush, and green? The grass pad man can. He has grass seeds for everybody's plans. Dogs and kids in your yard playing hard. After the fun and the sun, you gotta reseed your lawn. So come on down to the grass pad. The grass pad's high on grass.
Hey guys, it's Cody Tapp. You know when someone hits you with the, hey, what have you been up to? And I reply with, not much. You know, you get through the weekend highlights or whatever. Lately, my answers have been a little more interesting. I dropped 20 pounds with Awaken 180. 20. It feels amazing to say, hey, look, I didn't do it without the meds. There's no gimmicks. It's just fast. Like some of that part where you just like, hey, these are the ways I did it, because people are always curious how you go back through it. These things are good to feel good about yourself, and over 20 pounds in 4 weeks feels great. Over 25,000 clients have succeeded with Awaken 180. Even Kayam created a line of Awaken 180 approved sausages that's like, legit, this is. My clothes fit better, I feel good, and the compliments don't hurt. Look, you know I like attention. Awaken 180 is the go-to choice because it's simple, effective, and it works for anyone. In just 4 weeks, I'm down 20 pounds. Nothing's stopping you. Go online at awaken180weightloss.com or give them a call, 844-346-1800.
Check engine or ABS light on? Take the guesswork out of your warning lights with O'Reilly Veriscan. It's free. Ask for O'Reilly Veriscan.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
This is a message from sponsor Intuit TurboTax. Now, Taxes is having a TurboTax expert do your taxes and get you every dollar you deserve. Get an expert now on TurboTax.com. Only available with TurboTax Live Full Service.
I'm Brian Tedesco, CEO of Blaupunkt Americas, the pioneers of the car stereo. Today, we're not just about sound systems. We are revolutionizing the e-bike scene with Blue Dot Bike. Thanks to AmericanEagle.com, our online presence now features a dynamic e-commerce website that showcases the quality and affordability of our foldable e-bikes, and our collegiate e-bikes, just perfect for the college fanatic. These e-bikes offer a new way to experience freedom on two wheels, no matter your age. When we needed a top-notch website to match our cutting-edge e-bikes, we turned to AmericanEagle.com. They made the impossible seem easy, tackling digital challenges like pros. Check out the Blue Dot Bike website to see AmericanEagle.com's amazing work in action. Need the best in website and digital marketing solutions? AmericanEagle.com is your go-to. They've been a game changer for us, and they can be for you too. Visit AmericanEagle.com or call 877-WEB-NOW1. That's 877-WEB-NOW1.
Get one free set of brake pads when you buy 2 brake rotors. Visit O'Reilly Auto Parts. Offer in-store only. Restrictions apply. See store for details.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
This is a story of the one. As a maintenance specialist for university housing, he knows college students can major in wear and tear. Plus, housing so many students doesn't leave a lot of room to house all the supplies he needs. That's where Grainger comes in. With over 1 million industrial-grade products and fast, dependable delivery, Grainger carries the quality products he needs so he doesn't have to. From a new door hinge to a whole new faucet. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Thank you for making Total Wine & More America's #1 online source for spirits, beer, and wine. Better than all those delivery apps. Total Wine's prices are up to 30% lower with super fast delivery and no hidden fees. Order direct at TotalWine.com and pay less today.
Drink responsibly, B21.
This report is brought to you by O'Reilly Auto Parts, your professional parts people.
Check engine or ABS light on? Take the guesswork out of your warning lights with O'Reilly Veriscan. It's free. Ask for O'Reilly Veriscan.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Here's traffic, brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
Looking at a crash the far north side of the metro, northbound 29 highway to southbound 635. Traffic coming even to a complete stop there as you get past it safely. Southern lanes of the downtown loop looking sluggish, as is eastbound 70. We got some early slowdowns from a previous collision that start at 435. They lighten up at about Sterling. I'm Lori Pearson, 96.5 The Fan Traffic.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the Mission Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling Studios. You're listening to The Drive with Carrington Harrison on 96.5 The Fan and the Odyssey app.
Let me ask you guys this question, and then we'll move on and we'll talk some Royals baseball. This is my question. Do we still hate college basketball teams? Now, I understand if you are a fan of a team. Like if you're a longtime Kansas Jayhawk fan, I don't think that now all of a sudden you're rooting for Dennis Gates and the Missouri Tigers, or vice versa. Or if you're an Ohio State fan, I don't think that now you cheer for Michigan. This is exempt from that thinking. But I would say if we were playing Family Feud back in 2005, maybe 1995, and the question was, what is your least favorite college basketball team? And Steve Harvey or whoever the host was back then comes around and they ask you the question. I think the number one answer on the board would have been the Duke Blue Devils. Good answer, good answer. Ping! It'd have been like 67. Everybody would have been clapping, excited about it. I don't know if we hate the Duke Blue Devils the way that we used to hate them. Now, maybe it's Mike Krzyzewski. Now that you've lost the coach and the face of all of it, because the players change. There was a time you hated Christian Laettner. There was a time you hated J.J. Redick. There was a time you take your pick of Duke Blue Devils. But there was always one constant. It was the coach. Now that the coach is gone and you don't recognize the players as much anymore, and now it's just the history, the jersey, the tradition of it all, it does feel like the hate for Duke is a little bit watered down from what it used to be. This is the analogy that I'll make. I remember when we as a society were over the Jordan crying meme. The Jordan crying meme happened to Michael Jordan at the national championship game watching North Carolina. You could never have a situation better than that, ever. It was peak. It retired that day. It had run its course. It's not funny anymore. You got the Jordan crying meme on the absolute perfect moment. Now fast forward to Duke. If you hate Duke and Duke is your least favorite team, it's perfectly fine. In Coach K's last home game, they invited everybody to come back. Literally everybody. If you had played basketball at Duke, they offered you tickets to come. They wanted you to be there for Coach K's last game. It was against North Carolina. They lost. Coach K had to give a speech to the crowd after a loss to North Carolina. And then fast forward to the Final Four. Duke makes it. Great. Oh, wait, they got to play North Carolina. And then they lost in the Final Four. It just feels like that was the peak and the end of Duke hate. It can never be better than that. It can never be better than Coach K losing his last game at Cameron Indoor Stadium on Coach K court to his hated rival with everybody that played at Duke right there. It will never be better than Coach K walking off the court in his last game as a loser to North Carolina. That's it. Perfect. It can't be better than that. That's where I think the Duke hate ended. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe you guys still hate Duke the same. It doesn't feel as the vitriol is not what it was. You do not hate Cooper Flagg the way you used to hate J.J. Redick. You do not hate Cooper Flagg the way you used to hate some of the guys that they had in the 90s and the early 2000s. I think people, for the most part, like Cooper Flagg. He's never done anything, never said anything, never had any controversial statements, never said any of those things. I think he's cool. He's fine with me. He can play, kick, and hoop. I'm excited to see him play in the next level. I don't think people hate Duke the same anymore. Maybe we're losing recipes in college basketball. Maybe all of this has made us soft. There's no conference rivalries the way that there used to be. The conference tournaments are moving. The ACC tournament used to always be in Greensboro, North Carolina. They're now moving it to Atlanta, which is not ACC country. That's SEC country. Georgia's right up the street. Maybe in all of this conference realignment and all of this transfer portal and name, image, and likeness, we've lost, the rivalry, the intensity, the passion for the regular season, and maybe we just lost some of the hate for teams that we just grown up hating.
You know, I thought maybe it was because I was getting older and I understood, like, okay, I can't hate teams all the time, but now that you brought it up, maybe I am soft. Like, I always used to hate watching Duke. I'm like, they're back in it. Just like I used to hate watching the Patriots. Now, obviously, it's different because the Chiefs are doing their thing. But, like, when you watch a team like Duke, you're like, man, I don't know if it's because they have the younger coach now and he's doing things. And Cooper Flagg has done nothing wrong. Like, I remember watching that Duke-North Carolina rivalry, and I'm like, I was always rooting for North Carolina, and I thought maybe it was just because I liked their baby blue. But maybe it was because I just hated Duke. And now I'm watching them, I'm like, man, this is exciting. I'm happy they're in the Final Four. They're going to give us a really good Final Four. There's going to be 2 good games. I don't hate any team out there unless Kansas comes to town, and I might hate them a little more than I should.
Text line 913-586-7965. We're talking about the Final Four, and do people hate Duke the way that they used to? It just feels a little bit watered down from how it used to be. It certainly doesn't feel like we are having that passion for Duke that we used to have. That, just they were the evil empire. They were everything that was wrong with college basketball. It just doesn't seem like we feel that way about the Royals, or about the Duke Blue Devils anymore. I was thinking about the Royals because it's time to start talking about the Royals. We got Vern coming on the show in about 30 minutes or so. We'll get his thoughts on all things boys in blue. Here's the thing about the Royals. I mean, I'm not happy with the start that they've gotten off to. I imagine that you guys are not happy with the start that the Royals have gotten off to. They're 2-4. This team could very easily be 3-3. They could very easily be 4-2. They had a chance to win last Sunday against the Guardians. They lost that game. They had a chance to win their last game against the Milwaukee Brewers. They lost that game. Right now, they find themselves at 2-4. There is not a team in their division that is over 500. Right now, leading the American League Central is Detroit at 3-4. That's it. That's the team that is leading the American League Central. So, as the Royals are still trying to figure things out, and I think it's obvious they are still trying to figure things out offensively, as long as you continue to hang around, it's good. As long as nobody runs away from the pack. And I don't think that there's a team, at least not right now, that is good enough to run away from the pack. The Tigers are not going to do that. Cleveland is not going to do that. Kansas City is not going to do that. You look at Chicago, sure, they're a little bit better than they were last season, but maybe we got a little bit premature. They've now lost 3 games in a row. They sit at 2-5. That is not a good baseball team either. I want everybody to woo-side just a little bit, and I don't think that there's a big panic button that has been pressed about the Kansas City Royals. I don't think there's any reason to press a big panic button about the Kansas City Royals. They are in a comparable position to every other team in the American League Central. Every other fan base is frustrated with their start, I guess maybe other than Chicago because their start last year was so bad. Every other team in the American League Central has the same feeling that you do right now. And maybe that doesn't make you feel any better, but Cleveland is off to a slow start. Minnesota, Detroit, none of those teams are over 500. I think we all knew that this was going to be a little bit of a, at least difficult start for the Royals and how they were able to navigate it. I mean, you got 3 games coming up against a team that you played last year in the postseason. And then if you want to start to, hey, when do things start to get very important for this team? All right, well, that's coming up on Monday. Starting Monday, they have a 4-game series against Minnesota. And then they have 3 games against Cleveland. Every day next week, the Royals play a team in their division. Teams that you know you're going to have to win these games. And at the end, your record in the 13 games against these teams is really going to matter when you are building your resume for why you are going to win the American League Central. So figure out a way to win this home series against the Baltimore Orioles. You find yourself 1 game under 500. If you can do that heading into, I would say, the first important week for the Royals. It's not the most important. It's still April, so you're fine. But you got from Monday to Sunday of next week, you have a game against two teams in your division. A team in Cleveland that has already beat you in a series, and now you got to go back to their place. You don't play as many games against your opponent that you used to. You've already played 3. You got 3 more in the first, 2.5 weeks of the season, and then you only see them 7 more times the rest of the way. So the games against Cleveland, even though they are on April 12th through the 14th, are really important games in the big picture for the Kansas City Royals. So there's no reason to press the panic button, but you need to win this series this weekend against the Orioles, and then we'll figure out next week when you got a couple of times around the rotation. Reagans will pitch a couple of times. Seth Lugo is going to pitch a couple of times over the next week in those 7 games. So next week is when I think you can really start to, hey, we need to win these series. We cannot afford to lose these series if we're serious about winning the division.
I totally agree. And I get it. You lost your first series to a division foe in the Guardians, but it's not like you were embarrassed in that series. If you look back, the Minnesota Twins in the first game against the Chicago White Sox were embarrassed. They got skunked 9-0. Like, I get it, you lost to the Guardians, but there was still a lot of things you could take away from those games and be like, okay, hey, there's this to go with it that are good. There's some bad. But it wasn't like you were getting embarrassed out there and it didn't look like you could compete with them. So I get that it's worrisome that you haven't won a series yet in 2 series, but you also got to think about it. You've been competing in every game so far with a chance to win at pretty much in the 9th inning or later to win the game.
Text line 913-586-7965. We're going through the Royals schedule just a little bit. So the Royals have 3 games this weekend going up against the Baltimore Orioles. They have Seth Lugo, Michael Wacha, and Kris Bubic going on the hill. Bubic is going to pitch on Sunday. And then next week, you have 4 home games against the Minnesota Twins. And then you go on the road to play the Cleveland Guardians. And then, there's a little bit of a stretch here where I would say in your first 20 games, it's a little bit of a difficult start. A little bit difficult. You're playing teams that made the postseason last year. You play the Yankees coming up in about 10 days. You know the Yankees have been knocking the cover off the ball so far this season. So the Royals are going to need to pick things up a little bit offensively to kind of keep up in these next 10 games or so that they have. Let's switch back and let's talk a little bit of college basketball here. I want to play something that Jay Billis had to say. He went on a podcast with Coach K, and he was talking about how Jay Billis wants contracts for student athletes.
The NCAA used to die on the hill of amateurism in court. Now they're dying on the employment hill. They can't be employees. We can't have them as employees. Don't understand that because students are employees at every school in the country in different capacities, non-athlete students. But if they would just sign the players to contracts, say, hey, we're willing to offer you a 3-year deal with an option for a 4th. If you get arrested, we get to terminate. It's mandatory class attendance. You have to do this, this, and this. And there's going to be a buyout in there. We negotiate the amount of the buyout. So if I wanted to leave, go somewhere else, I'd have to pay the buyout, or my new school would have to pay the buyout. It's pretty simple.
That was Jay Billis trying to help figure out and untangle some of the mess that I think we've created with college sports. I think what has happened with college basketball and college football and now the rest of the sports is the transfer portal. It is not solely for those athletes. It's every student athlete now. I think what has happened is for so long, the NCAA argued against all of these things. And what usually happens is if you let other people dictate the rules for you and you don't dictate them for yourself, it has created the sort of, quote, lawlessness, end quote, that I think has happened in college sports. A lot of this would be fixed if the NCAA were the people that are paying them. Now, I know that you guys think that it's name, image, and likeness and these guys are getting paid, but this is a third party that is paying them. Yes, I get paid for endorsements. A company asks me to read something. I agree to read it. They pay me X number, but I still work for a bigger company. I still work for Odyssey. I sign a contract with them. We have a deal in place. What has happened in college basketball is, well, the teams, the schools, the institutions, we're not going to give you part of the television money. We're not going to give you part of the ticket money, part of the revenue money. We're not going to allow you to form a union the way that professional players have. We're not going to divvy up the pie and the resources, and you guys figure out the money. All right, cool. Well, the money has been figured out. The Supreme Court figured out the money, and they created the system that we have now. Hey, you can't tell these guys that they can't make a wage. A lot of the problems in college basketball, when it comes to the transfer portal and guys being able to jump ship and guys being able to play for 5 different schools in 4 years, is due to the fact of the NCAA does not have the ability and have never really been interested in locking in rules that treat the players like employees. And they could fix some of this if they simply admit what we all know is happening. It's no longer amateur sports. It's now minor league sports. Well, they have a union too. They get paid too to play minor league sports. They have a system in place. They have a deal that is in place. And right now, what you have in college athletics is, because the scholarships are 1-year renewable contracts, essentially, sure, you lock in to play football at Alabama for 1 year. But at the end of it, you now have the ability to either not renew your scholarship and then go to another school, or the school can tell you, well, we're not going to offer you another scholarship, or they can tell you, we want you back. You can accept that deal or not accept that deal. Jay Billis is right. If we quit this charade and acknowledge that they are employees of the university and then lock them into agreements the way that employees have with their employer, we could start to fix some of this. But the NCAA doesn't want to do that. Because employees, you get some of the revenue from your company. That's how it works. You get some of it. Now, sure, they get a bigger portion of the revenue than they pay you, but you get to share in the revenue from your employer. That's what's happening right now in college, is they argued for so long that the players had no value and your scholarship was just enough. And they let a third party tell them they were wrong, something all of us were trying to tell them for 50, 60 years. Hey, this system is exploitive, and maybe you guys should look at it. No, it's fine. Okay. And as society was changing and starting to be on the side of them being paid, and they kept arguing, no, we're not going to pay them. We're not going to pay them. Well, now look at what you've created. It's time to fix this. Create a real minor league system with these schools. You shouldn't be able to play for 5 different schools over 4 years. If you are at a mid-major and you want to go join a major school, you should have the ability to move up. I'm not stopping kids from opportunities, but you have a buyout. Hey, it's going to cost Duke $300,000 to buy your scholarship away from this school. And then they got to negotiate with you a salary. Some of this would just be very easy if they just acknowledge what we all know. These players are employees of the university. But right now, they only sign 1-year contracts with the school. So when that 1 year is up, they are then free to do whatever they want to do. And that is not a good system if you were trying to build a cohesive league, which is what college basketball is. Right now it is an uncohesive league.
Yeah, and I mean, you think about it, the buyout would be pretty much like what you do with their head coaches. Hey, we want you. We'll buy you out from what you have at this school to bring you to our school. I totally agree with having a contract in place, because then it gives value to staying at a school, or that school that loses you, that has helped develop you into a better player, also get some revenue. The other thing is this. You bring up going from 4 schools in 5 years. I mean, look at AJ's story. He's gone from 8 different schools in 8 years, going back to high school. This man doesn't know what loyalty is. He's just bouncing around until he finds what he wants. And if you have a contract like that, he ain't going to keep bouncing around. You don't want to see a player on 5 teams in 5 years. You want to see something where there's a little bit of maybe loyalty and something about where, hey, I'm okay with being here and having fun with this school.
Text line 913-586-7965. But what happens when a kid signs a 3-year deal and then the coach leaves? The kid has to have a way out of that contract. I don't have a problem with that. If Darren Peterson wants to sign a 2-year deal with the University of Kansas, and he can either break the agreement by Bill Self leaving or declaring for the NBA draft, great. That's a system that we all can sign up for. I'm not against that. I'm not against if your coach leaves, that now voids your deal and now go do what you want to do. That's perfectly fine. That makes sense to me. But the system that they have right now, where at the end of every single year, a player is a free agent, it is not a viable long-term plan. And everybody in the sport hates it. Everybody hates it. The coaches hate it. There's no continuity. The fans hate it. No one likes the current system. Well, now is the opportunity for everybody. Let's go to our respective corners and let's figure out a system that gives us long-term viability. Long-term viability. That's it. Long-term viability is what I think we all want for college basketball. I love college basketball. I imagine you guys love college basketball as well. It's just not working. It's not working. It is not working. Someone says, why do we need that, though? It doesn't happen in professional sports. The coach leaves and you're stuck with your contract. My boss leaves and I don't get to jump ship. Okay. Well, I would say also in there, I mean, if we really want it to be like that, they also can trade you. Like there's just other things that are with it. I think that's very, very fair. It's very, very fair. Hey, you commit to go to a school because you really like Bill Self. Bill Self decides, I'm done playing, I'm done coaching. If you want to leave after that, I think that's a very, very fair rule. But right now, having every college player under a 1-year renewable deal, no one is happy with this current structure in the sport. So let's figure out a way to make them contractors, make them employees, whatever term you want to use, and let's find a more viable long-term plan for a very, very wonderful game. Coming up at the top of the hour, we'll be joined by Josh Vernier. We'll get back to Royals baseball. Keep it right here. It's The Drive.
The Drive with Carrington Harrison on your new home for Chiefs football. 96.5, The Fan, brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
Men, here's the truth. In the bedroom, good enough isn't really good enough, is it? This is Jeff for Heartland Men's Health, and if your erectile dysfunction is making intimacy less enjoyable for you and your partner, give us a call today. Because whether your ED only happens sometimes or all the time, it's time to stop good enough and time to start really good. At Heartland Men's Health, we're experts in treating ED. Whether it's only mild or moderate, or even if it's severe, our treatments have success rates of well over 90%. And because we have a variety of treatments and can even combine protocols, we can likely get you performing like you haven't in a long time. You could even last up to an hour or more and make sex great again for you and your partner. So make an appointment and be done with good enough. Your initial visit is just $99 and includes blood work, a medical consult, and if medically advised, a test dose. And if that test dose doesn't work in the office, your visit is free. Call 844-447-6600. That's 844-447-6600. Or go to heartlandmenshealth.com. We have 3 offices to serve you.
Need to sell your house in Kansas City but not sure what the best option is? Selling a home, especially when dealing with foreclosure, divorce, job relocation, or an inherited property, can feel overwhelming. That's why I don't just make offers. I help homeowners understand all their options so they can make the right choice with no pressure and no obligation. I'm Rex, a local homebuyer and resident right here in Kansas City. Whether you're looking for a fast cash sale or just want to explore your choices, I'll walk you through the pros and cons of selling to me or listing with an agent. If selling directly is your best move, I'll offer you a fair cash price and a closing timeline that fits your needs in as little as 7 days or on your schedule. No repairs, no commissions, no hidden fees. Just a transparent, hassle-free process so you know exactly what to expect. Let's talk. Call 816-330-6000 or visit rexbuyskc.com for a free, no-pressure consultation. Rex Buys KC, helping homeowners make informed decisions with confidence.
Look, there's feelings and then there's the facts. If you're feeling like your finance team is bogged down in mundane manual tasks, the fact is you need Ramp. Ramp is the corporate card that makes the expense process fast and easy. The moment your team makes a purchase, Ramp handles everything. Receipt collection and approvals, the works. With Ramp, you can cut your month-end close from 5 days to 1, customize approval workflows, and get complete control over every transaction. Facts. Over 25,000 businesses trust Ramp, including Shopify and the Boys and Girls Club of America, which is why they were just named #1 in spend management by G2. Facts. Start using Ramp and you'll have more time to spend scaling your business, and that'll feel really good. Upgrade to Ramp for free today and get $250 at ramp.com/radio. Ramp.com/radio. That's RAMP.com/radio.
Cards issued by Sutton Bank, members FDIC. Terms and conditions apply.
This is a story of the one. As a maintenance specialist for university housing, he knows college students can major in wear and tear. Plus, housing so many students doesn't leave a lot of room to house all the supplies he needs. That's where Grainger comes in. With over 1 million industrial-grade products and fast, dependable delivery, Grainger carries the quality products he needs so he doesn't have to. From a new door hinge to a whole new faucet. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Buying a new car might make you say things like, I can't believe it.
Seriously, it's ours? Is this real life? Yeah, it's real life, all right.
But what you really need to say is something that can protect your new ride.
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Yep, we're here to help you choose the coverage you need. So just remember, like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
State Farm, Bloomington, Illinois.
Get one free set of brake pads when you buy 2 brake rotors. Visit O'Reilly Auto Parts. Offer in-store only. Restrictions apply. See store for details.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
This is a story of the one. As a maintenance specialist for university housing, he knows college students can major in wear and tear. Plus, housing so many students doesn't leave a lot of room to house all the supplies he needs. That's where Grainger comes in. With over 1 million industrial-grade products and fast, dependable delivery, Grainger carries the quality products he needs so he doesn't have to. From a new door hinge to a whole new faucet. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Thank you for making Total Wine & More America's #1 online source for spirits, beer, and wine. Better than all those delivery apps. Total Wine's prices are up to 30% lower with super fast delivery and no hidden fees. Order direct at TotalWine.com and pay less today.
Drink responsibly, B21.
Royals coverage sponsored by Park & Go. The best deals on airport parking.
Step up to the plate and hit a home run with Casey's best airport parking. It's Park & Go. Great service, low price, zero hassle, open 24/7, and all spots are covered. Don't get caught looking. Strike 3. Reserve your spot today at bookparkandgo.com.
Here's traffic, brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
Things with a heavy southbound 71 starting at MLK. Also eastbound 70 out of the 435 exchange. And there's a stalled car far north Kansas City, southbound 29 highway at 72nd Street. Nothing more than a distraction. I'm Lori Pearson, 96.5 The Fan Traffic.
Welcome to your new home for Royals baseball. 96.5 The Fan.
Welcome back into The Drive. If you missed the conversation we were just having, Jay Billis went on a podcast, and he believes that we should start giving contracts to student athletes in college. Here's what he said.
The NCAA used to die on the hill of amateurism in court. Now they're dying on the employment hill. They can't be employees. We can't have them as employees. Don't understand that because students are employees at every school in the country in different capacities, non-athlete students. But if they would just sign the players to contracts, say, hey, we're willing to offer you a 3-year deal with an option for a 4th. If you get arrested, we get to terminate. It's mandatory class attendance. You have to do this, this, and this. And there's going to be a buyout in there. We negotiate the amount of the buyout. So if I wanted to leave, go somewhere else, I'd have to pay the buyout, or my new school would have to pay the buyout. It's pretty simple.
Someone on the text line texted this question is, CDOT, how can you say it's not working? We have 4 1 seeds left in the tournament. What's broken? I would say what is broken is, as of this morning, there were 1,729 players in the Division I transfer portal. 1,729. That's of this morning. More players have decommitted. Missouri just had a decommit since this morning. It also is a system that allows players like A.J. Storr, and not to single him out, but A.J. Storr next season will be on his 4th Division I school in 4 years. He started at St. John's. He transferred to Wisconsin. He transferred to Kansas. He is now about to transfer to another school. It also is a system that right now tampering is wide open. Wide open. Tampering, at least in this sense, does not happen in the NFL. No one is calling Patrick Mahomes to leave the Chiefs to come play for their team. You cannot do that. He's pretty locked into where he is. Every college basketball player is being contacted constantly to leave their school and come to yours. With KU, this is literally what happened with Flory Badunga. I am a star player at Kansas, but through the back channels, a school keeps calling and telling you, hey, if you enter the portal, we'll take care of you. You then enter the portal, that kid is about to go somewhere else. That is widespread in college basketball. I also think, and I think we hear kind of rumors about this kind of stuff, I don't think you guys want to know some of the amount of money that these schools are offering these kids to leave their current school to enter the transfer portal to come to the next school. I just think the system just could be done more effectively. We don't really complain too much about the rules in the NFL. The rules, I think, work fine. Hey, we sign you to a deal. You get this much guaranteed. If you're not performing, we get rid of you. I'd be fine if they did a baseball model. Hey, we really want to sign Darren Peterson to a 2-year, $10 million contract. Cool. It's all out in the open. We all know the finances. We all know how much money every team has to spend. No one complains about the structure of these things. None of us know when it comes to college. A lot of it is just done in the dark. I think it would go better for everybody if it was run more like what it is, a professional business. That's what it is. It is a professional business where people are trying to make the best moves for their families. And like most businesses, there are a group of people that are trying to make as much money as they can. And I'm cool with you making as much money as you can. There is a better system and a better structure than the one that we currently have in college basketball. I want to make this point really quickly about the tush push. We can move on from college basketball. So you guys know that they're mad about the tush push. They've been arguing about this thing for weeks. They're ready to change the tush push. Why don't we just reach a compromise? I'm a big believer that in most things, a compromise can always be found, and usually the truth is somewhere in the middle. If you want to ban the tush push because the offense is not allowed to push a player forward, that all makes sense to me. Now, we can argue it's sour milk and it's spilled. We can argue it's all of those things. But at the core of it, that's a fair argument. You aren't allowed to have your team behind the quarterback and push him forward for a yard or two. That should be against the rules. Now, I'd argue that happens at running back, that happens at other positions, but let's just deal with the topic at hand. If that is your argument for banning the tush push, I think that is a very fair argument. If your other side of the argument is, well, just stop it, I also think that that's very fair. Why don't we just reach a compromise? And this will be my compromise. You can only run it on fourth down. You can only run it on fourth down. If you get first and goal from the 2-yard line, we don't want you to be able to run the tush push on first down. All right, you didn't get it. Well, now we're going to run the tush push again on second down, touchdown. No, run a play. Now, if you want to run a regular, normal quarterback sneak, hey, quarterback sneak it to your heart's content. If you want to turn around and hand it to Saquon Barkley or run the Wildcat, great, sure. But why don't we just limit the tush push to where you can only run it on fourth down? Easy for everyone to agree to. The Eagles get to keep their play that they have perfected, that they've mastered, and you get an opportunity to use it. And for the rest of us, when it's first and goal from the 3-yard line, we all know, I know what they're about to do. They're about to run the tush push, aren't they? Yep, here you go. And I would also say another play. So maybe there's 2 caveats that I would add to this. Number 1, you have to do it on fourth down. And then number 2, you have to run it with your quarterback. Because what was happening there for a while is teams started running plays out of the tush push. You got everybody thinking that you're about to run this quarterback sneak, and oh, wait, it's a misdirection to the running back. You can't do that. This, to me, feels like a very fair compromise that I think everybody should be in line with. The Eagles, you guys still get to run it on fourth down. Hey, it's fourth and short. You guys need to convert that first down. Run the tush push. That's fine. And now it's up to the defense to stop it. But what we don't want is It's 3rd and 2 on the 45-yard line, and you guys have just determined to run the tush push 2 times. I don't think we want that either. There is usually a middle ground and a compromise that can be found in these situations. Do the NFL teams want to find it? Because if I'm the Eagles, I maybe try to get ahead of this thing because I don't think the other teams want to compromise. I think they want to stop you from doing it. They already have half of the teams in the league that don't want you to run this play anymore. And trust me, they have stopped this conversation because they are trying to drum up more votes to get more teams on the side of eliminating your special play, which is the play that helped you win the Super Bowl. I'd be trying to come back to the table, and I'd be trying to argue it that way. And I would guess that you would probably turn some of those teams around. I don't know why Buffalo is so against this play. They run it. Buffalo runs the tush push. Now, they don't run it nearly as effectively on 4th down as you guys run it on 4th down, but they run it. I think if they tried to find a little bit of a middle ground, they would find themselves still with the ability to call the play. Because if they keep letting this thing go on, I'm telling you in May, they're going to get the necessary 8 more votes that they need, and they're just going to outright ban the play. Maybe the Eagles will just figure something else out, and then they'll have to stop it. But it seems like they really want to keep it. That seems like a very fair middle ground to do. Coming up at the top of the hour, let's switch back. Let's talk a little bit of baseball. We're also going to have Josh Vernier join us on the show. Keep it right here, so drive.
Hey, it's MJ Melendez from the Kansas City Royals. You're listening to The Drive with C-Dot on 96.5 The Fan.
Brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this. Here's traffic, brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
These are the heavy southbound 71 starting at MLK. Also eastbound 70 out of the 435 exchange. And there's a stalled car far north Kansas City, southbound 29 highway at 72nd Street. Nothing more than a distraction. I'm Lori Pearson, 96.5 The Fan Traffic.
Robsite Ford. Non-commissioned staff, low prices, best trade-ins, and the biggest selection. Visit robsite.com. 2025 is the year Robsite Ford makes history. With non-commissioned sales staff, the lowest prices on brand new Fords, best trade-in values, and the biggest selection, we've got it all. Visit Robsite Ford, the top-rated Ford dealership on Google. Robsite.com.
This is the run my own business dream. This is the colleges paid for dream. This is the retire early dream. This is BC Bank and Cross First Bank. Together, we'll help ensure your dreams and possibilities become moments. Through trusted guidance and expertise, through lifelong relationships. Together, we're building extraordinary impact in business, wealth, and community. BC Bank and Cross First Bank. Member FDIC.
Hey, fellow Gen Xers, it's Elizabeth Banks. Big news! The recommended age for pneumococcal pneumonia vaccination has been lowered to 50 and older, even if you're healthy. It's up to us to lead the charge. After all, we gave the world the internet. We're trailblazers. Let's lead the way again because we are at over 6 times greater risk for pneumococcal pneumonia. Gen X, this is our shot. Head to vaxassist.com and schedule today. That's vaxassist.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Hi, I'm Chuck McDowell, the timeshare cancellation guy and founder of Wesley Financial Group. And I want to set the record straight. I am not an attorney. I've never wanted to be an attorney. And the truth is, I really don't even like attorneys. If I sound like an attorney, I'll apologize. But what I've learned in my 15 years in the timeshare cancellation business is you don't need to be an attorney to get folks out of their timeshare. At Wesley, we've helped over 40,000 families cancel their timeshare, and I want to share with you how we do it. Just give my office a call. I guarantee if we take you as a client, we'll get you out of your timeshare, or you'll pay nothing. Attorneys, this was meant to be funny, so please don't sue me, especially my friend Kenneth from Black River Falls, Wisconsin.
Call now for your free timeshare exit info kit. 800-403-5566. 800-403-5566. 800-403-5566.
Hey there, I'm Jack.
And I'm Stag.
We're just 2 deer that want to make sure you know it's deer season at your authorized John Deere dealer. The deer season that saves bucks, you know?
Like us?
Yeah, you can get $3,000 off select John Deere machines. No early wake-up calls or tree stands required.
Just a trip to your authorized dealer before June 2nd.
If you ask us, it's the only deer season worth celebrating.
Visit johndeere.com/deer season to find an authorized dealer and for complete finance details.
And Doug.
Quickly, Moo. We don't have much time. This Liberty ad is already almost over. We only have a few precious seconds to remind people to customize their car insurance and save hundreds with Liberty Mutual. Okay. Well, I guess we had more time than I thought.
Only pay for what you need at libertymutual.com.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Savings vary. Underwritten by Liberty Mutual Insurance Company and affiliates. Excludes Massachusetts.
At Diamonds Direct, we believe luxury is an experience and not a price tag. Luxury is expert guidance. It's the selection of 10 jewelry stores under one roof. It's saving time on endless comparison shopping. And you'll only find this experience at Diamonds Direct. Our luxury showroom has it all backed by our lifetime warranties and our signature best price guarantee. Diamonds Direct is the perfect combination of luxury and value, so you don't ever have to compromise. Learn more at diamondsdirect.com. Diamonds Direct, your love, our passion.
FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, is the best place to bet on sports. There's an absolutely loaded sports calendar this week, right? We've got basketball, baseball, hockey, or any other sport. Check out some of their exclusive promotions: Dinger Tuesday, Hump Day parlays, and golf profit boost tokens over the weekend. Maybe you want to place some bets on the Royals to get wins this week over the Brewers and Orioles, and then look ahead to the first major in golf of the season. And right now, new customers on FanDuel can get $200 in bonus bets with any winning $5 bet. Visit FanDuel.com/Alex to make every moment more. FanDuel's official sportsbook partner of 96.5 The Fan. 21 and present in Kansas. First online real money wager only. $5 first deposit required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets, which expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. FanDuel is offering online sports wagering in Kansas under an agreement with Kansas Star Casino, LLC. Gambling problem? Getting help is your best bet. Call 1-800-522-4700 or visit ksgamblinghelp.com.
Buckle up and hang on. This is going to be a good one.
The fans of Kansas Speedway know how to have a good time. One that celebrates fantastic finishes.
Crash together. So close.
And family-friendly facilities. Trading paint.
We got feuding.
And tailgating tradition. Burnouts. Beer. And barbecue. Oh, it'll for sure be a good time. And you are all invited. NASCAR weekend at Kansas Speedway, May 9th through the 11th. Get your tickets now at kansasspeedway.com.
Tonight, expect showers and thunderstorms with a low of 42.
Weather brought to you by Robert Half. Robert Half's recruiting professionals use their award-winning AI to connect businesses with highly skilled talent. Learn more at roberthalf.com/talent today.
What's up, KC? This is Matt Quattrero. On your way home from the ballpark, make sure to listen to Vern's postgame show right here on 96.5 The Fan. I will not be listening.
96.5 The Fan, KFNC FM and AM, HD1 and HD2 Kansas City, an Odyssey Sports Station.
Welcome back into The Drive. My name is Carrington Harrison. Very happy to be here with you. Coming up in about 15 minutes or so, Josh Vernier is going to join us on the show. We'll talk some college basketball. We'll get back to the Final Four coming up in just a bit. We have an SEC game between Florida and Auburn, and in the other game, we have Houston going up against Duke. Those are the two games that we will get tomorrow night in San Antonio. Let's talk a little bit about the Royals. Every team has that one player that gets blamed for everything. Usually in football, it's somebody in the secondary. Just when something is going wrong, damn it, Daniel Sorensen, it's his fault. I mean, it could be a 17-13 game. Your team is winning. They give up one pass. Daniel Sorensen ain't even on the field. You're going to blame Daniel Sorensen for the completion just because every team has to have that one guy that gets designated for what's wrong with the team. Now, we need to come up with a name for this award for baseball, the way that we have in football. Because in football, we usually call it the Barbecue Chicken Award. We usually call it the Burnt Toast Award. You know, when you see that person out there, Eli Apple, he is barbecue chicken alert, Barbecue chicken alert. You know that. Now, we got to come up with what this phrase is for baseball, and I'm open to it. 913-586-7965. I don't have the name for it. But you guys know past winners on the Royals. Kyle Davies is a past winner. Francoeur is a past winner of this. Chris Getz was a past winner. You guys know. The player that right now you want them to cut, the player that you want them to get rid of, it is time to DFA. I don't care how much money is left on their contract. I want this guy off the team. I don't think we need to see any more Royals games to know who this player is for the Royals. Hunter Renfroe, come on down. Hunter Renfroe, you are the winner of this unnamed award. Now, text line, I need your help here, 913-586-7965. We need to figure out a name for this award. But right now, if John Sherman called you as a Royals season ticket holder and said, hey, you know what? We appreciate you and the money that you've spent out here. You know what? I want to give you $100 food voucher to come out, get you a Z-Man, get you a beer, come spend time with your family. I also want you to suggest one name of a player that you would like for me to get rid of. I think the player that's winning that is Hunter Renfroe. I think you guys are over him. I think you guys are ready to go in a completely different direction. And I'm not here to tell you that you are wrong about Hunter Renfroe. I'm here to tell you that what you're saying makes a lot of sense with Hunter Renfroe. They don't owe him that much money. They owe him $7.5 million. I don't know why they just didn't buy out his contract, but he had a player option. I get it. I think the player that you guys have decided, it's him. I think he is on the shortest leash of anybody that is currently on this team. If things don't turn around in the first, and it's early, in the first 4 to 6 weeks of the season, the person that they will put this on will be him. They're not putting this on Angel Zerpa. Maybe they send MJ Melendez down. I would say that there's not a lot of room for moves on this team. I think their roster is pretty solidified. The person that's going to have to answer it with their job is probably going to be Hunter Renfroe. JT, what do you think we should name this award?
Yeah, I saw something on the text line that actually was really, really good. I see the boiled hot dog. That's a great one. We could, but it was called, I think I saw it was Seed Head. Let's see. I could have swore I saw it right there. Yeah, the 913 Seed Head. And it makes sense because you love sunflower seeds at a baseball game. Oh, man, we crack one open, we spit it out. Get out of here. Spit him out. That makes sense. A seed head would be a good one, I think. Because guess what? Oh, no, the seed head made another mistake. Great. Throw him back out. Go away.
You know what? I like this one, 913-586-7965. The Jose Guillen Award. Now, I know, JT, that you're a little bit too young and you don't know about Jose Guillen.
I do know who.
But let me tell you that there's been a long list of these people. Jose Guillen at one point. Jose Guillen might be the OG. You probably don't remember Jonathan Sanchez. There was a time with Jonathan Sanchez, it became very clear. Hey, he cannot continue to keep pitching for you guys. You cannot continue to put Jonathan Sanchez out there start after start after start. And eventually the Royals woke up and just determined, hey, you know what, man, y'all right. We're not going to do this anymore. I mean, this is a glorious award. This is the award where, like most fan bases, I think the Kansas City is pretty loyal. They'll give you a bunch of chances. You show a little bit of promise, man, they'll wrap their arms around you and they will make excuses for your performance for a very, very long time. But when you are outside the circle, and we call this the circle of trust, once you get outside the circle of trust, it's real difficult to get back in there. And I'm trying to think of a scenario in which you guys would let Hunter Renfroe back inside your circle of trust. Some of you maybe never put him inside your circle of trust, but you can't hit 229 last season. You can't go out there and play FIFA in right field on opening day the way that you did and have a noodle arm the way that you did. And you don't hit. I mean, that's strike one, strike two, strike three. You got to go. So I don't think they're doing anything right now. I don't think they are doing nothing. I think they're going to continue to let Hunter Renfroe out there. But I'm telling you that if the Royals don't turn things around offensively, the person that will be blamed for it, it might not even be Hunter Renfroe's fault. But the person who will be blamed for it, the person that is going to have to wear it the most, that person is going to be Hunter Renfrow. He's going to have to do it. Some other suggestions on the text line. What about the Juan Gonzalez Award? You know what? I like the Juan Gonzalez Award. The Omar Infante. I'm not putting that on Omar Infante. Somebody said, what about Unieski Betancourt? That you guys have the right mindset. That's what I'm talking about. That's the right mindset. We could probably go through the years.
I should do Hansel Alberto. Come on, because I don't remember that man.
Yeah, we could go through the years right now from 2000. And then every year we could just find out who that guy was for you guys. Because in 1 week of Royals baseball, I have already determined who that player is for you guys. Some of you guys are saying MJ Melendez. The only reason I'm not throwing MJ Melendez in this conversation, he is 26 years old. He still has options. They can do something with MJ. Tomorrow, if the Royals have gotten fed up enough with MJ, let's say he goes out there and he has 5 strikeouts today, and they say, we cannot do this anymore. Well, send him down. Send him down to Omaha, clear your mind a little bit, work on some things, come back. They do not have any more options for Hunter Renfrow. It is either you continue to start every day, and we hope that you can get yourself out of this offensively and turn things around, or you got to find employment elsewhere. The Royals, you don't pick up his option. You don't do all those things if you're not committed to giving it a chance. And you are not pulling the plug on 5 games. But the 5 games that we have seen from Hunter Renfrow, they look real similar to the 150 that we got last year for him in the Royals outfield. Coming up in just a little bit, Josh Vernier is going to call into the show. We'll get his thoughts on everything as the Royals are back in town against the Baltimore Orioles. And we'll also continue to get you ready for the Final Four this weekend in San Antonio. Keep it right here, so Drive.
The Drive with Carrington Harrison on your new home for Royals baseball. 96.5 The Fan. Brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
Sometimes it feels like the world is moving at hyperspeed and you can't keep up because it's one thing then another. And don't forget the meeting and the yoga class and the dinner reservation. But then you get into the all-new Nissan Murano and you feel the breeze from the panoramic moonroof while the massaging seats melt away the tension of the day. And you realize that sometimes the greatest rush is not rushing at all. Shop the all-new Murano at nissanusa.com. Panoramic moonroof massaging leather appointed seats are available features.
This is a story of the one. As a maintenance specialist for university housing, he knows college students can major in wear and tear. Plus, housing so many students doesn't leave a lot of room to house all the supplies he needs. That's where Grainger comes in. With over 1 million industrial-grade products and fast, dependable delivery, Grainger carries the quality products he needs so he doesn't have to. From a new door hinge to a whole new faucet. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Look, there's feelings, and then there's the facts. If you're feeling like your finance team is bogged down in mundane, manual tasks, the fact is, you need Ramp. Ramp is the corporate card that makes the expense process fast and easy. The moment your team makes a purchase, Ramp handles everything. Receipt collection and approvals, the works. With Ramp, you can cut your month-end close from 5 days to 1, customize approval workflows, and get complete control over every transaction. Facts. Over 25,000 businesses trust Ramp, including Shopify and the Boys and Girls Club of America, which is why they were just named #1 in spend management by G2. Facts. Start using Ramp and you'll have more time to spend scaling your business. And that'll feel really good. Upgrade to Ramp for free today and get $250 at ramp.com/radio. Ramp.com/radio. That's ramp.com/radio.
Cards issued by Sutton Bank, members of FDIC. Terms and conditions apply.
If you're 55 and up, T-Mobile has plans built just for you. 2 lines of unlimited for just $30 a line. That's a 45% savings compared to Verizon and AT&T. But don't just take our word for it.
It's not just the savings that are great with our T-Mobile plan. There's all this value from all these other things that T-Mobile offers.
T-Mobile has been such a savings for us.
We love it. Switch today and get 2 free 5G phones like the Motorola Edge with Turbo Power charging that gives you power for the day in just 15 minutes. And customers 55 and up can get 2 lines of talk, text, and data for only $30 a line. Go to T-Mobile.com/choice55 to learn more. With 24 monthly bill credits and 2 new lines with autopay for well-qualified customers plus taxes, fees, and $35 per line connection charge. Credits end and balance due if you pay off early or cancel. Contact us plus $5 per line without autopay. Debit or bank account required. 45% off 2 lines versus AT&T Starter and Verizon Welcome. Plan benefits vary. See details at T-Mobile.com. Motorola Edge requires 68-watt charger. Charger sold separately. Actual performance will vary based on usage and configuration.
Lowe's knows that your business is built on speed and trust. That's why the Lowe's Pro Desk is here to get you what you need the moment you need it. We'll help you plan your project, calculate your materials, and pivot when your job takes an unexpected turn. And with our pro-only checkout and dedicated pro parking, you have what you need to tackle your job and be back on the job in no time. Just visit us at the Pro Desk. Lowe's knows pros. We help. You save.
Well, good morning, kiddo. I love that you're home from college. I've missed you.
Still taking your Nature Made vitamins?
Every day. A multivitamin and a probiotic. You better be taking yours.
Still looking out for me, Mom.
I'll never stop.
Made to care for you every day. Nature Made, the #1 pharmacist recommended vitamin and supplement brand. Find us in the vitamin aisle, based on a survey of pharmacists who recommend branded vitamins and supplements.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today?
I need new rotors.
When you buy 2 Duralast rotors during our spring sale, you get Duralast brake pads free.
Free?
With the rotors.
Well, that's great. What if I need extra stopping power?
You can upgrade to Duralast Gold pads for just $10.
So Duralast pads are free?
Yep.
And an upgrade is just $10?
That's right. Part of the spring sale at AutoZone.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
This is the story of the one who, as a maintenance specialist for a historic high-rise, knows that vintage charm historically needs constant attention. Which is why, when it's time to upgrade turn-of-the-century mechanicals, they turn to Grainger. With easy access to 1 million-plus products and the scale to deliver when and where you need them. The right tools and supplies are never far away. So the one can keep that vintage building running like new. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Here's traffic, brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
Eastbound 70 is looking slow from 31st Street to about Sterling. Also slow southbound 71 starting at MLK. Northbound 35 and northbound 71 looking heavy into downtown. And southbound 35, those brake lights start at about 7th Street Traffic Way and ease up at 635. I'm Lori Pearson, 96.5 The Fan Traffic.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the Mission Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling Studios. Make sure to follow The Drive on the Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts.
We're still trying to figure out proper names for who you guys' least favorite Royals player is. This season, I believe that's Hunter Renfroe. Now, we've got some really good names. I've come up with the Allard Baird Award. You guys remember him, longtime general manager for the Kansas City Royals. Someone suggested the Buddy Bell Award. We've had the Jonathan Sanchez Award. There's a lot of names being thrown out there. I really like the Neifi Perez. Like, if I had to make a team of my least favorite Royals that they've had over the years, Neifi Perez would be the team captain. I was never a fan. Him and then game one would be Jonathan Sanchez. Jonathan Sanchez might be my number one, my least favorite Royal. I'll never forget. JT, I don't know if you remember this. You might have been too young to remember this. Jonathan Sanchez gave up like 3 home runs in the game, and one of them, the guy hit the ball to the moon. And then he got asked about it, and he said, I made a good pitch. He just got lucky. I never wanted to hear from him again. I never wanted to hear from him. He would pull up. He had this like bright orange Lamborghini, and you're speeding off after you just gave up 7 earned runs in 2 1/3. I never wanted to hear from you or see from you again. It was over. So if I had to lean to it, the Jonathan Sanchez Award actually makes a lot of sense to me. I'm still open to taking more names to come up with it. I'm still here for it. 913-586-7965. I'm just trying to figure out the name of the award, and right now I'm giving that award to Hunter Renfrow. Can we talk about Ja Morant for just a little bit, and then we'll get back to the Royals, and then JT, if you can go ahead and call up Vern, and Vern will be on the show here coming up in about, let's call Vern in 5 minutes. Let's talk about Ja Morant. Now, you guys remember that Ja Morant, probably a year and a half ago, I'm not 100% accurate when this was, but it was fairly recent. Ja Morant was on Instagram Live flashing guns. He was at a strip club. He was flashing guns. They then told him to stop doing it. Then on somebody else's Instagram Live, he's just playing around with the gun. Well, they eventually suspended him for it. So 2 nights ago in the NBA, he does a celebration pointed at the Golden State Warriors. He then got a talking to from the league. Hey, we want you to stop doing this. They didn't fine him, didn't suspend him. They gave him a warning and talked to him. Please stop doing this. He then did it the very next game on TNT. He didn't even do this on like a small little local game. Nope. TNT, one of our biggest partners, against the Miami Heat. First quarter, I'm going to do the same gesture again. They fined him. They fined him $75,000 for this gesture. Now, I'm not here to lecture Ja Morant. We are all people. We all make mistakes. I'm not here to cast the stones. Your employer has made it very, very clear to you they don't want you to do this anymore. They've asked you nicely to stop doing this, and you just don't care. That's what this is an issue. I've seen people, well, this player did this celebration. You're the one that continues to be called to the principal's office. But it's not fair. I don't care. We're talking to you. We've asked you nicely, please stop doing this. We do not want this to represent our league. You don't care. And I don't even know if taking the games away from him is what matters. Every time you do some nonsense and foolishness like this, let's keep taking money out of your pocket. And maybe you're thinking, I got a bunch of it. Okay, that's cool. We got the ability to keep taking money away from you. We just told you this yesterday. We just had this conversation with you. Stop doing this. Please stop doing this. The next night you did it? Well, then you're a dummy. I don't know what to tell you. You're stupid then. You just don't care. You want to be fined the $75,000 they just took out of your pocket. So it's that simple. We always talk about like freedom of choice. You were allowed to do a lot of things. Well, you violated my freedom of speech. Nobody violated your freedom of speech. You're not going to jail. They're not talking about kicking Ja Morant out of the league for this. They're going to keep fining and suspending you. And if that's what you're cool with, that's fine with me. It ain't my $75,000. I would find better usage for it. There's way better uses of it than a hand gesture towards an opponent after a made three than just giving them $75,000. You played tonight for free. If you want to keep playing these games for free and keep giving the money back, I'm not here to stop you. I'm not here to stop you. 913-586-7965. What if somebody told you to stop giving a thumbs up? How fast could you break the habit? What if they said no more waving? Would you forget? Waving is something you've done your whole life. We're not talking about a thumbs up. We're not talking about waving. We are talking about after a made three, you do a gun symbol directed at other players on the court. If that's not something that you can break out of your habits, then what are we doing here? You're coordinated enough to be in the NBA. You're not coordinated enough to not walk by the opposing bench and not mimic a shotgun at their other point guard. What are we doing here? I'm willing to give people a lot of leeway. I'm willing to forgive. I'm willing to move forward from a lot of things. This is nonsense how we have to keep having this conversation with Ja Morant. So I'm done having the conversation. Some of you have told your kids something repeatedly. Hey, pick up after yourself. Pick up after yourself. Pick up after yourself. All right, cool. You don't want to pick it out for yourself? Well, you ain't playing Xbox no more then. I don't care. I don't play the Xbox. You play the Xbox. I'm perfectly fine with you not playing it. You're the one that has the problem with it. That's what I would start doing to John Morant. We keep having this. Hey, all I'm asking you to do is just, when you get done eating, take your bowl and put it in the sink. Is that so hard to do? No, it's not that hard to do. Look, I'll show it to you. Look, you eat your cereal. Hey, I don't mind you eating cereal. Eat your cereal. Eat your Lucky Charms. When you're done, take your bowl, put it in the sink. That's it. I don't want to keep having this conversation with you. But we keep having this conversation. All right, cool. You ain't going nowhere this weekend. That's simple. That's problem solved. Problem solved. That's what they got to start doing to John Morant. That's what they got to start doing. We've had this conversation too many times with you. You don't listen. You don't think that the rules apply to you. Well, cool. Every time you do it, we're taking $100,000 out of your pocket. And eventually, that money starts adding up. And you start thinking, man, I've lost a lot of money doing this. This is dumb. Okay. That's how I would resolve it with John Morant. I can't believe we have another one of these. This is the fourth gun-related controversy we've had with John Morant in 2 years. The fourth one that we've had. Bro, you just be smarter. That's it. We're not asking much else from John Morant. All we're asking him to do is be smarter. All right, coming up in a little bit, we will be joined by Josh Vernier. We'll get his thoughts on the Kansas City Royals as they are starting their home games this weekend against the Baltimore Orioles. All right, let's talk about the Final Four. This is one of the best Final Fours that we have potentially ever had. We got 4 1 seeds going up against one another. In the first game of the Final Four, we have Florida going up against Auburn. I think that Florida is playing like the best team in the country since March 1st. If you look at the wins that they have, how complete that they've had, since the sport has turned over to March, I think that Florida has been the best and the most consistent team. I'm picking them to win this game. Now, Auburn has been very, very good. And Auburn, at least in this NCAA tournament, they have righted the ship. I thought that Auburn was the best team in college basketball heading into March. I mean, they were 27-2 heading into the final month of the year. Now, they hit a little bit of a rocky road. They lost 3 of their last 4 games at the end of the regular season. For some weird reason, they were in a real close game in the first 25 minutes or so in their round 1. Since then, they beat Creighton 82-70. They beat Michigan 78-65. They then beat Michigan State, and now they find themselves in the Final Four playing up against Florida. So Auburn is obviously a very, very good and complete team. The reason why I am picking Florida to win this game is I think they have the best guard remaining in the NCAA tournament, and I just think that they have more things than Auburn does. I think they've got size, they've got great guard play, they've got depth. I think they're playing at a slightly higher level. I also think that they've been tested in this tournament. They beat UConn in the round of 32, and the game that they had against Texas Tech, it just feels like one of those years that everything has kind of come together for Florida, that they've gone on a very, very special run. I think that Walter Clayton right now is playing as well as anybody in the country not named Cooper Flagg. Cooper Flagg has been amazing in this tournament. He has been the best player in the tournament. I think the second one has been Walter Clayton. And the measure of being the best is very simple. Hey, when the moment gets biggest, the stage, the lights are the brightest, how do you perform for your team? They were locked up in a tight one against UConn, and Walter Clayton hit multiple threes in the last 5 minutes for them to win. He scored 23 points. They won 77-75. Their backs were completely up against the wall with Texas Tech, and Walter Clayton was the biggest reason why they came back and won that game. I'm riding the hot hand on this one, and I think he's the hot hand. I got Florida going to play for the national championship. The thing that I was most wrong about Duke with is the thing I was most wrong about. I think they've been super complete. I think they've been real complete. I think they have shown an ability to do just about everything in this tournament. I think offensively, they're really, really good. Defensively, I think they're good. I think they have the best player. I think you can maybe argue that they have the best coach remaining. He's certainly coached at an incredibly high level with John Shire. I think there's a lot of things to like about this Duke team. It just feels like it's Duke's tournament. That's what it feels like. It feels like it's Duke's tournament. They ran through their region. They've got the best player. They've got a really well-rounded team. It just feels like it's Duke's tournament. I know I picked Houston at the very beginning of this thing to win the national championship. If I can, I would switch it on the fly, and I would pick Duke. I was wrong about Duke. I didn't think they were battle-tested enough. I thought it was going to be really hard to win an experienced tournament with freshmen, which they have, and none of those things have mattered for them right now. They're the most complete and well-rounded team left in this year's NCAA tournament. If you were factoring in offensively, defensively, they're the best team remaining in this thing, and I think they figure out a way to win this thing. I think that Duke is going to go up against Florida on Monday night, and I think that Duke ultimately is going to be the team that cuts down the nets.
Do you have any, I would say, difference if it was a different matchup than Houston? Say it was Duke versus Auburn? Because do you think Auburn gives them a different matchup stylistically? Because I think Auburn, with the big of Broome, could give Duke problems, unlike they can give Florida problems because Florida has multiple bigs.
Yeah, I think what would actually kind of help maybe Duke in this context is they played Auburn earlier this year. So these are two teams that are familiar with each other. Now, this was very, very early on in the season, but I would say that Duke is probably I would say that they have evolved more than I think that Auburn has since then. I mean, we're talking about this game was early on in the season. I mean, this was in the first, we hadn't been 10 games into the college basketball season yet. And a team like Auburn that just has more experience, I think they were just going to advance in this. I mean, Con Knipple scored 6 points in that game. Sion James had 9 points in that game. So I think we're looking at just a very, very different Duke squad this time than the last time that they went up against Auburn. I would pick Duke in that matchup. I think it would be a really intriguing matchup between those two, especially when you got the two best players in college basketball going up against each other. But I think on Monday, if that's the matchup that we end up getting, Duke against Auburn, I'm going to guess that Duke is probably a 3.5, 4.5 point favorite in that game, and I'd probably side with the Blue Devils in that one.
I would agree. I wanted to know what your thoughts were. I like Florida a lot to beat Auburn. I also like, as much as it I would say pains me to agree with you, is take Duke just because I like to be different sometimes. But Duke, like you said, has the best player in the whole of college basketball, and Florida has the hottest player right now in Walter Clayton. So I think it's a matchup that's going to happen on Monday night, and it's going to be a fireworks show.
So let's take a little bit of a break here. Coming up on the other side, we're going to be joined by Josh Vernier. Vern's going to call in. We're going to get his thoughts. We'll talk Royals baseball the rest of the 4 o'clock hour, and then we'll get you ready for the hits coming up at 5. Vern coming up next. Keep it right here, so Drive.
The Drive with Carrington Harrison on your new home for K-State Athletics, 96.5 The Fan. Brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
Attention car shoppers, Kevin Harlan here with Rob Seid of Rob Seid Ford in South Kansas City. Hey Rob, what's going on?
We are making 2025 the best year in Rob Seid Ford history, and we are doing it with 4 simple steps.
Simple is what I love most about Rob Seid Ford. So Rob, what's the plan?
It starts with Rob Seid Ford's non-commissioned sales staff, Kansas City's lowest prices on brand new Fords, the best trade-in values, the biggest selection we've ever had. With those 4 steps, it is my personal mission to make Rob Seid Ford the easiest, most value-driven Ford dealership in Kansas City. No BS.
That's why Rob Seid Ford is the only dealership I'll send my friends and family to. But you're forgetting one thing.
What's that?
Rob Seid Ford is Kansas City's top-rated Google Ford dealership.
Good call. Can't forget about that. Check out Rob Seid Ford in South Kansas City at 135th and State Line, ROBSIGHT.com.
Hey there, I'm Jack.
And I'm Stag.
We're just 2 deer that want to make sure you know it's deer season at your authorized John Deere dealer. The deer season that saves bucks. You know, like us.
Yeah, you can get $3,000 off select John Deere machines. No early wake-up calls or tree stands required.
Just a trip to your authorized dealer before June 2nd.
If you ask us, it's the only deer season worth celebrating.
Visit johndeere.com/deer season to find an authorized dealer and for complete finance details.
Hy-Vee makes my life easier every time I visit. From pre-made meals to everything I need to grill at home, I can find at Hy-Vee. Hy-Vee is your graduation headquarters for any size celebration. They have party trays, personalized cakes, floral arrangements, and so much more. Don't miss the graduation open house on Saturday, April 5th from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m., where you can sample all of the amazing graduation party options or just get a little inspiration. Let Hy-Vee handle everything this graduation season, even full-service catering, only at Hy-Vee.
It's that time of year. Fire up the grill and get your backyard groove on. It's Hy-Vee's good old-fashioned meat sale. We're rolling back prices on springtime favorites like bacon-wrapped chicken grillers for $3.99, specialty brats $1 each, whole boneless pork loin $1.99 a pound, and 85% ground chuck just $4.99 a pound. These crazy low prices will get you in the groove. Hustle in for big savings this Friday through Sunday only at Hy-Vee.
Hi, Mia here at the winnings desk of the Missouri Lottery. So, I wanted to write a thank you note for every dollar Missouri Lottery players have given to Missouri and education, but that would be 8.4 billion notes. So to save a little time and a whole lot of paper, here's just one. Dear every single lottery player in Missouri, thank you for helping us give $8.4 billion to Missouri and education. Sorry, my trumpet's in the shop. The Missouri Lottery. Winners welcome and play responsibly.
This is the story of the one who, as a maintenance specialist for a historic high-rise, knows that vintage charm historically needs constant attention. Which is why when it's time to upgrade turn-of-the-century mechanicals, they turn to Grainger. With easy access to 1 million+ products and the scale to deliver when and where you need them. The right tools and supplies are never far away. So the one can keep that vintage building running like new. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Thanks for calling Discover. This is Nia.
Hi, Nia. It's Jennifer. Did you know that Discover automatically doubles all the cash back you've earned at the end of your first year?
Yeah, I work here.
Okay. I was just double checking. Get it?
Because Discover automatically doubles all the cash back you've earned at the end of your first year?
Oh, you get me, Nia.
You could say that I double get you.
I guess we've taken it too far.
You earn, we match. Discover Cashback Match. See terms at discover.com/creditcard.
Get in the zone, AutoZone. Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today?
I need new rotors.
When you buy 2 Duralast rotors during our spring sale, you get Duralast brake pads free.
Free?
With the rotors.
Well, that's great. What if I need extra stopping power?
You can upgrade to Duralast Gold pads for just $10.
So Duralast pads are free?
Yep.
And an upgrade is just $10?
That's right. Part of the spring sale at AutoZone.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
This is the story of the one who, as a maintenance specialist for a historic high-rise, knows that vintage charm historically needs constant attention. Which is why when it's time to upgrade turn-of-the-century mechanicals, they turn to Grainger. With easy access to 1 million+ products and the scale to deliver when and where you need them. The right tools and supplies are never far away. So the one can keep that vintage building running like new. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Awaken 180 Weight Loss. Results every week and then receive free support for life. Awaken180weightloss.com.
Hey guys, new update. I'm down over 20 pounds thanks to Awaken 180. 20 pounds in just 4 weeks and doing it without medications. I'm eating to lose weight, and after I reach my goal, I'll receive free support for life. You can too. Awaken180weightloss.com.
Here's traffic, brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
Car crash southbound 35 right at Lamar, though the collision is on the shoulder. Things are looking heavy back to the state line, and then also heavy northbound 35 out of the downtown area over the Bond Bridge. And seeing those slowdowns southbound 71 starting at MLK, but easing up at about 75th Street. I'm Lori Pearson, 96.5, The Fan Traffic.
Hey Kansas City, it's Bobby Witt Jr. Welcome into The Drive with Carrington Harrison on your home for Royals baseball. 96.5 The Fan.
Let's go to the phone lines right now to be joined by our guy, Josh Vernier. Let's talk some Royals baseball before we hand things off to Vern coming up in an hour. Vern, how you doing, my man?
I'm doing very well. Not the
best day at the ballpark weather-wise, but we're at the ballpark, two good teams and the two best shortstops on the planet ready to go at it.
Do you think there's any chance this game gets rained out tonight?
No. I don't believe so, but also, what the hell do I know?
No, that certainly makes sense. I'm going to tell you this. If the weather holds up and it's like this, I wouldn't expect a lot of company at the ballpark today. A lot of people are going to wait for a couple of weeks when the weather clears up.
Yeah. Listen, been around way too long to be disappointed with the fact that there's no way 20,000 show up tonight.
Right now, we're talking to our guy, Josh Vern. Vern, there's a lot of stuff I want to get your thoughts in, whether it's in Kansas City or around baseball. Let's just knock off some of the national topics, and then we'll dive in with the Kansas City Royals. Let's start with this torpedo bat controversy that everybody is chiming in on. You watch baseball every single night as an insider. What do you make of it?
Yeah, I'm all for anything that starts to swing the pendulum back for the hitters. This game has been so helpful, or at least the analytics revolution has helped pitching out so much, as we've seen with Tampa and the Dodgers and the Brewers and their pitching departments and their pitching academies and the way that they develop pitching nowadays. It's nice to see something new to benefit the hitters. Now, do I think it's a cure-all? No, of course not. To a certain extent, I'm sure some guys, it's just a placebo effect of, hey, this is different, this is giving me an edge, so I'm carrying more confidence with me to the dish, and ultimately that helps. But the thing that excites me, what I like most about it, is the idea that hitters will start to, a lot like golfers, have a number of different bats in their bag. If I have a guy that's has a history of working me in, yeah, I'm going to my torpedo bat. If I have someone that has a history of pitching me away, I go back to this bat. And depending on who I'm facing, I use this bat. I think it's a nice evolution of hitting of Major League Baseball. And, yeah, I think that could be cool if there are, you have a pitching wedge or sand wedge or driver, a bunch of different bats that you can go to the dish with. Now, if you're just sticking with one and you think that the torpedo bat's going to be as if the pitchers are not going to react to the torpedo bats. All right, you're expecting to do damage a little bit, in on the hands more than what I've prepared for. Pitchers will adjust, and I think hitters will then need to adjust back, and that's when I think we end up at the golf ball bag of bats, depending on who you're facing that particular day.
I love the golf analogy. My stance on it was this is just the normal evolution of sports. If you look at football gloves, the gloves that Tyreek Hill are using are not the same gloves that Lynn Swann used or Jerry Rice, that we have seen advancements to make it easier to catch the ball. I mean, it's still hard to catch a pass from an NFL quarterback, but it is certainly easier to catch one with those gloves. You use the golf analogy. The clubs that Tiger Woods are using are different than the ones that Ben Hogan used. As long as the bats fit the terms that baseball has signed up for, I don't really have an issue with this. This just makes a lot of sense to me that now major league players are using this.
Yeah. It's like you said, it's certainly the next step of evolution when it comes to hitting in Major League Baseball. It's been pretty funny to hear some of these general managers or hitting coaches or managers almost say, I can't believe nobody thought of this over the past 20, 30, 40 years. Sometimes the best invention seems so very obvious, and here we are with the torpedo bat.
Right now, we're talking to our Royals insider, Josh Vern. You're just talking baseball, getting his thoughts on some of the top stories. I do want to get your thoughts on Shohei. We'll get back to that in a bit because he has had an incredible week. Let's get to the Royals. We are 1 week into the baseball season. They have played 6 games. My biggest takeaway is this team just looks very familiar. I'm not panicked by anything, but last year the Royals went 74-75 when they didn't play the Chicago White Sox. That looks like the team that I'm kind of watching right now, a team that has to be carried by its big 3 RBI run producers, a team that struggles to get offense from its outfield, a team that has a great rotation, a team that has a solid bullpen. The Royals just look very familiar to me so far in the first week of the season.
Well, the bullpen's better. The bullpen's better than last year's. You have more strikeouts, more power stuff at the back end of the bullpen with a healthy Hunter Harvey and the addition of Carlos Estevez. And, of course, Lucas Erceg wasn't here in the second half. But to your point of, this looks like the team that we watched last August and when Vinny was healthy, September and ultimately October. And, yeah, I'm not going to fight you. And, again, that brings me back to my theme for the season with this team, and it's the sophomore album. Because a lot of people listening right now, if you told them, hey, this year is going to play out exactly how last year's season played out, I think a lot of people would take it. That debut album was so good. If you're going to give me more of the same, I think people would be happy with that. But, of course, most fans, you want more. So if you do want more out of the 25 Royals, where is more coming from? The bullpen? Okay. But you're right. The offense does still center around, and most offenses center around the 2, 3, 4 hitters. But I don't think most offenses of good teams are as beholden to the 2, 3, 4 hitter as this team is, that only go as far as the 2, 3, 4 hitters allow them. The outfield, that's thrown out there a lot, but you have Jonathan India in left field tonight, and he's been very good. So, you want to talk about MJ, you want to talk about Hunter Renfroe, okay, yeah, that looks like the guy that we saw or the guys that we saw a season ago. But again, I go back to how do they improve? Where are they different in the positive? I'll give you the bullpen, but the rotation through the first 6 games giving you on average 5 innings. The bullpen's not going to be good for long if the rotation's only giving you 5 innings. So Seth Lugo, big spot tonight. Michael Wacha tomorrow, big spot. Cole Reagans pitched well on Wednesday, no doubt. 10 strikeouts in 5 innings. It was fun to watch. But he was outdueled, right? Freddie Peralta outpitched him, just like Ben Lively outpitched him back on opening day. For as much as we want a duplicate performance here on the sophomore album, man, that's going to be difficult to have a 35-year-old Seth Lugo match what he did last year. Reagans, Bobby, Vinny, Salvi, Wacha, all of them, it appears right now, must duplicate what we saw last year, or else where are you looking? Where are you turning to and saying, all right, these guys are regressing somewhat? Again, Bobby's going to be a stud. Maybe he's not putting together, though, an all-time shortstop season like he did last year. Who makes up for the natural regression from a Lugo, a Wacha, a Salvi, a Bobby? Who's making – India can do only so much. Who else? Maybe Chris Bubich, maybe Michael Massey. Those are the 2 names that jump to the forefront right now. But that, to me, is the question of this 7-game homestand. Who else is going to come alongside those big 6, the big 3 that you mentioned in the lineup and the big 3 at the front end of the rotation? Who else is going to help pick the boys up and make sure that the sophomore album is better than the debut joint we heard last year?
What do you think happens? And I know we're early into the season, but let's say that we are 100 at-bats in, and things have not turned around for Hunter Renfroe, and things have not turned around for MJ Melendez. What do you think happens?
If the calendar, does I guess that puts us in May. Yeah, if MJ's not hitting, he'll find himself in Omaha so long as there's a better option. Right? I mean, and don't tell me what they're doing right now in Omaha. I don't care that Drew Waters had a nice week in Omaha. He had a month and a half in Arizona to show us something, and he didn't do it. Nick Prado didn't do it. Joey Weimer didn't do it. Nelson Velasquez didn't do it. MJ Melendez did it. So he earned his spot on this team on April 4th. We get to May 4th, May 14th, and MJ's not producing offensively. This team isn't going to hesitate to send him to Omaha. Now, if you're expecting that to happen in early April, again, I have tough news for you. MJ belongs here in early April. Late May, certainly, he could find himself in Omaha. Hunter Renfroe, I think that might be more of a early June. Here's your X amount of $1 million. Best of luck somewhere else. But I don't think you'll see. In fact, I don't want to guarantee it, but from everyone that I've spoken with over the past few months, you're not going to see this organization drag its feet with what appears to be as blatantly obvious, like last year with Will Smith or a Chris Stratton. I don't think the leashes are as long for Chris Stratton, MJ Melendez, Hunter Renfroe, really anybody on this team. The leash isn't as long as it was a season ago, so long as there's a better option presenting itself in AA, AAA, whether that's Caglione or John Rave. If there's a better option, in my opinion, there will be no hesitation.
Vern, there's a group of players that have come up pretty quickly, I would say, in recent memory. What percentage chance do you think that Jack Caglione is up here by the All-Star break? Because to me, the question changes if we are talking about this being in September, where they do a September call-up, they bring him up. Right. That's a different conversation. If he comes up by the All-Star break, they are planning on playing him every single day. What percentage chance would you throw out there? I asked someone this question yesterday. They threw out 35%. I know we're spitballing here, looking in the crystal ball. You're around that organization every day. What percentage would you say?
Boy, a lot less than 35. Before the All-Star break, I'd put it at 10%. And boy, because listen, you're not going to bring him up and ask him to be a savior. So, Vinny breaks his leg. I don't know if it's all right, Cags, you're our everyday first baseman. Come on up here and hit in the 5 spots. The only way, the dream scenario is Caglione destroys AA baseball beginning tonight, and then by the time the calendar flips to May, he's forced the organization's hand and he makes his way to AAA. Maybe that happens, let's say a month from now he's forced their hand and now he's in AAA, and he dominates AAA pitching throughout the month of May, in the early parts of June. Once you start seeing him, again, unless Vinny breaks his leg, once you start seeing him in left or in right field in AAA Omaha, I'm not getting excited about anything. So it has to be a 4 weeks of domination in AA, 8 weeks of domination in AAA before he gets that call. And then again, you only want him in the big leagues in 2025 if he's joining a good team. So you need him to dominate AA for a month, AAA for a month and a half, and you need the Royals to hit and win, because you're not going to bring this young man up with only 3 months of minor league baseball really under his belt and throw him to the Wolves and say, we need you to turn this thing around. No matter what, the expectations are going to be sky high for Caglione. But for that to happen before the All-Star break, I'll say 10%, 15% or lower.
Right now, we're talking to Josh Vernier here for a couple more minutes. I'm not saying that the offense is Vinny's fault, but if you want to look at where the offense started to take a turn, it was last year when he got hurt. I looked this stat up. Over their last 30 games, so obviously you have to go back towards last year, the postseason, all of that. The Royals have scored 88 runs in their last 30 games.
Yeah.
You have only gotten 11 games from Vinny Pasquantino in that stretch, and he's hitting below 200. To me, this offense seems very simple. We can talk about Hunter Renfroe. We can talk about MJ Melendez. If this offense is going to be what it was in the first half of the season and heading into August, Vinny Pasquantino has to be in the middle of it. So maybe it takes him 50 at-bats to get his timing back, and we're talking about a player who is coming off a significant injury who probably shouldn't have played last October. But right. they need Vinny to be back to Vinny, and you alluded to it earlier. There might not be a team, certainly not in this division, that is more dependent on their 2, 3, or 4, and right now one of those 3 is just not right.
Right. A guy in Vinny that tweaked the hamstring just over 2 weeks ago was grinding through it in the Cleveland and Milwaukee series. But just take a look at those first 6 games and just how tied to Bobby, Vinny, and Salvi this offense is. Against Cleveland, Game 1, Vinny's responsible for all 4 runs, and the Royals still lose. Extra inning, great game. Game 2, Salvi drives in the first 2 runs, and Bobby drives in the game winner. Royals walk away victorious. In the finale, Salvi goes 0 for 3 with runners in scoring position, and the Royals lose. Okay, so now we go to the Milwaukee series. Game 1, all 3 of those guys drive in a run, so of course the Royals win. Game 2, there's no Vinny in the lineup. Of course the Royals lose. And then yesterday, Wednesday, those three combined to go 0 for 12. So, of course, the Royals lose. Listen, it's never as black and white. I'm sure it's not as easy as I'm making it out to be. Massey and India are big bats in this lineup as well. But, last year, like you're saying, all the way through the month of August, it was very apparent that Bobby, Salvi, and Vinny were going to be the first trio in Major League Baseball to all reach 100 RBI, to all hit more than 20 home runs. They were going to look like three of the most formidable bats, maybe the best trio in the American League. And then Vinny goes down and the offense is just absolutely flailing. A lot like what we saw Game 2 in Milwaukee. Without Vinny, boy, you really don't need to give Bobby anything to beat you. And, depending if Salvi's expanding the zone, you can bust him with that slider down and away. And, Bobby and Salvi are great, but when they're surrounded by guys that don't really instill much fear in you, it's a very manageable lineup, in my opinion.
If you had to create your Mount Rushmore, and this is just only with baseball players that you have physically seen with your own eyes, not highlights, you have been to a game to see, where does Shohei rank?
Well, number one. Yeah, number one. I mean, you can make a case that Shohei Ohtani is not only the greatest living baseball player, but the greatest baseball player of all time. Babe Ruth never did what Shohei's done. No one's ever done what Shohei's already done in his career. So, yeah, Shohei, number one, and then we have a conversation about the other three. No, there's never been anyone like him, and I don't think there'll ever be anyone like him again.
Yeah, if I was trying to think of this for myself. I mean, Shohei 1, Bonds 2, Pedro Martinez 3. I was really just trying to think of who the fourth guy would probably be. Maybe Manny Ramirez. Yeah, I saw Griffey, but when I saw Griffey, I saw Reds Griffey. I didn't see Mariners Griffey the way that you were talking about. I saw Reds clearly, and I didn't see the kid the way that you did.
Yep. Alex Rodriguez, but again, there's that cloud over him. I would say, but Mike Trout hit one of the most impressive home runs I've ever. So did Ken Griffey Jr. I saw Griffey win a game against the Detroit Tigers in Comerica. He took a 101-mile-per-hour fastball from Joel Zumaya, dead center. I saw Mike Trout do something similar. Mike Trout hit the longest home run I've ever seen at Kauffman Stadium. So that's quite the debate, Trout or Griffey, who gets that final spot on my Mount Rushmore. To your point about but you know what? Trout's kind of having that same Griffey-esque finish to his career where you're just waiting to see the kid again and his body refuses to allow that young GOAT to show up. It's been unfortunate, but so far Trout's been able to stay healthy. I'll still go Griffey just because of my age, and he just meant more to me than Trout did.
That is our guy, Josh Vernier, joining us on the show today. You guys can hear him coming up in 30 minutes as we hand things off to Josh Vernier. Vern, I appreciate you, man. Enjoy another night at the ballpark.
All right, buddy. Thank you.
Absolutely. That is Josh Vernier joining us on the show. Coming up at the top of the hour, we'll get you ready for another Royals series. They are back in town. We'll also get you ready for this weekend's Final Four. Keep it right here. It's The Drive.
The Drive with Carrington Harrison.
This man was a bona fide scrub.
On 96.5 The Fan. Brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this. Here's traffic. Brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
Multi-car crash southbound 35 right at Lamar. Though the collision is on the shoulder, things are looking heavy back to the state line. And then also heavy northbound 35 out of the downtown area over the Bond Bridge. And seeing those slowdowns southbound 71 starting at MLK, but easing up at about 75th Street. I'm Lori Pearson, 96.5, The Fan Traffic.
Buckle up and hang on. This is going to be a good one.
The fans of Kansas Speedway know how to have a good time. One that celebrates fantastic finishes.
Crash together. So close.
And family-friendly facilities. Trading paint.
We got feuding.
And tailgating tradition. Burnouts. Beer. And barbecue. Oh, it'll for sure be a good time, and you are all invited. NASCAR weekend at Kansas Speedway, May 9th through the 11th. Get your tickets now at kansasspeedway.com.
At Busey Bank and CrossFirst Bank, we're partnering to help make your business visions become realizations. Through securing capital for growth, cash flow management, and comprehensive strategies that ensure a prosperous future. Because thriving businesses mean thriving people and thriving communities. Together, we're building extraordinary impact in business, wealth, and community. Busey Bank and CrossFirst Bank. Member FDIC.
It's March matchups at BetMGM. Lock in your picks for this year's tournament with the sportsbook born in Vegas. Get into the game with exciting state-of-the-art live tracking technology, exclusive sportsbook selections, and so much more. Check out BetMGM Originals for dozens of markets you won't find anywhere else. Take a shot at our exciting free-to-play games for your chance at scoring odds boost tokens, bonus bets, and many other prizes. Experience college hoops like never before with BetMGM. BetMGM and GameSense remind you to play responsibly. See BetMGM.com for terms. 21 years of age and older. Some U.S. promotional offers are not available in Mississippi, New York, Nevada, Ontario, or Puerto Rico. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Available in the U.S. For New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. For Arizona, call 1-800-NEXT-STEP. For Massachusetts, 1-800-327-5050. For Iowa, 1-800-BETS-OFF. For Puerto Rico, 1-800-981-0023. First bet offer for new customers only. All other promotions for existing customers. Subject to eligibility requirements and rewards may vary. In partnership with Kansas Crossing Casino and Hotel.
Baseball's officially back, and you can make every game day more exciting with Underdog. Underdog is one of the leading sports apps, and it's available now to play in Missouri. To play, choose whether a player will go higher or lower on one of their stats, strikeouts, home runs, hits, and so much more. And they've got all your favorite leagues, teams, and stars to choose from. You can create entries with all baseball selections or mix and match across other sports like I like to do. And you can play with as little as $1, and if you get everything right, you can win up to 1,000 times your money, so you can turn $1 into 1,000 just with your sports knowledge. Download the Underdog app and sign up now using the promo code BOB to unlock a special offer of up to $1,000 in bonus credits when you make your first deposit. That's promo code BOB to get up to $1,000 in bonus credits instantly upon first deposit. Must be 18 and over and present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.ncpgambling.org.
Men, is good enough really what you want with your sex life? This is Jeff for Heartland Men's Health, and if erectile dysfunction is making a bad bedroom experience for you and your partner, you should call us because you want your intimacy to be fantastic, both for you and the one you love. At Heartland Men's Health, our treatments have success rates of well over 90%. And because we're a medical practice focused on men's sexual health, we can offer many treatment options and even combine treatments to find the right one for you. Which means if you're like most of our patients, we can likely get you performing like you haven't in years. So make an appointment and make a change from good enough to really good. Your initial visit is just $99 and includes blood work, a medical consult, and if medically advised, a test dose. And if that test dose doesn't work in the office, your visit is free. Call 844-447-6600. That's 844-447-6600. Or go to heartlandmenshealth.com. We have 3 offices to serve you. Heartland Men's Health, a Promenic restorative health
Hey,
practice.
it's Rex here with RexBuysKC.com, your local KC home buyer. If you own a property in the Kansas City or surrounding area and want to sell it fast and at a fair price, write this number down, 816-330-6000. I'm a private real estate investor, not some hedge fund or large national chain. My family and I live right here in KC. I can pay cash and close on your timeline, even in as little as 3 days. Here at RexBuysKC.com, we're improving Kansas City one house at a time. I buy inherited houses, vacant houses, foreclosure houses, behind in payment houses, my tenant won't pay the rent houses, and properties that need complete rehabs. Do you own a house that's trashed and needs thousands of dollars in repairs? Great. If you own a house and want to sell it fast, call me at this number, 816-330-6000. That's 816-330-6000. Or go to RexBuysKC.com. That's RexBuysKC.com. And I look forward to working with you.
Join us for the Fans Draft Party on Thursday, April 24th from the Landing in Liberty. We'll be broadcasting live, plus your chance to win $965 and an autographed Chiefs helmet in our draft contest. KFNC FM and AM, HD1 and HD2, Kansas City, an Odyssey sports station.
Hey, it's Lucas Ursig from the Kansas City Royals. You're listening to The Drive with CDOT on 96.5 The Fan.
Brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
Congratulations on getting through your 9 to 5. Thank you so much for listening. It is The Drive. My name is Carrington Harrison. Excited to be here with you. Maybe you are driving out to the ballpark tonight. Maybe you are heading home. Maybe you got dinner coming up with the family, with the wife. Whatever it is, I hope that you are happy and blessed. All right, we got a lot to get into. I was thinking this as I was getting ready for the show. I went back and I looked at Mike Moustakas' career. Now, I know that we remember that things worked out for Moose. There was a guy that had the moose antlers and had that big ATV and would go out there and moose. And he is one of the more beloved players of the last 20 years on the Royals. Wasn't always like that. It certainly didn't begin that way. Moose got sent down in the middle of his 4th season. And if we are looking at it from an at-bats perspective, it was real close to where we currently are with MJ Melendez. Now, if we are fast-forwarding to where we are with Melendez, this is my big question with the Royals. Not if I think they will send MJ Melendez down. As of last year, he had 2 options. Now, they haven't sent him down yet, so he still has options, contrary to what people are saying. MJ Melendez still has options if the Royals are going to send him back down. So it is not a question to me that if MJ Melendez struggles over the next 60, 70 days or so, and probably a smaller amount of time than that, that they would be willing to send him down to Omaha or Northwest Arkansas to get right. It's not about that. Does this regime have the ability to do the reclamation project the way that the past Royals regime had? They had a track record of doing this. They did it with Mike Moustakas. They did it with Alex Gordon, who was in a very similar position to Mike Moustakas. Got off to a little bit of a slow start. They changed Alex Gordon's position, and he came back, and he was one of the better defensive outfielders of the 2010s. They had a track record of doing these things. Lorenzo Cain's career was off to a little bit of a bumpy start, and they got it on the right track, and he turned into, like Mike Moustakas, one of the more beloved players in Royals history. That's the question that I have for the Royals right now. It's not necessarily if they will have a quick hook or a leash with MJ Melendez. I don't think that you can continue to carry either, whether it's him or Hunter Renfroe. I don't think you can carry them for 150, 175, 200 ABs if the offense continues the way that it did toward the end of last season and so far in a very limited sample. But Dayton Moore had a track record of doing this. J.J. Piccolo right now doesn't have a track record of doing this. Now, you were around for it, but it's very differently to now you be at the helm, your scouting guys, your coaches, to try to turn this player's career around. MJ Melendez, at one point, we looked at him in a similar light to Vinny Pasquantino. Vinny has developed into the player that many Royals people thought that he could. I don't think that's what MJ is, but the tools are still there. The athletic traits are still there. Are they going to be able to salvage this thing, or eventually, 2, maybe 3 years from now, we are talking about a very serious case of the what-ifs when it comes to MJ Melendez? I asked this question to Vern about 30 minutes ago. What happens if we're at 100 ABs, we're at 125 ABs, and things are going the same with MJ Melendez and Hunter Renfroe? What happens?
Joint we heard last year.
What do you think happens? And I know we're early into the season, but let's say that we are 100 at-bats in, and things have not turned around for Hunter Renfroe, and things have not turned around for MJ Melendez. What do you think happens?
If the calendar, I guess that puts us in May. Yeah, if MJ's not hitting, he'll find himself in Omaha so long as there's a better option. All right? I mean, And don't tell me what they're doing right now in Omaha. I don't care that Drew Waters had a nice week in Omaha. He had a month and a half in Arizona to show us something, and he didn't do it. Nick Prado didn't do it. Joey Weimer didn't do it. Nelson Velasquez didn't do it. MJ Melendez did it. So he earned his spot on this team on April 4th. We get to May 4th, May 14th, and MJ's not producing offensively. This team isn't going to hesitate to send him to Omaha. Now, if you're expecting that to happen in early April, again, I have tough news for you. MJ belongs here in early April. Late May, certainly, he could find himself in Omaha. Hunter Renfroe, I think that might be more of a early June. Here's your X amount of $1 million. Best of luck somewhere else. But I don't think you'll see. In fact, I don't want to guarantee it, but from everyone that I've spoken with over the past few months, you're not going to see this organization drag its feet with what appears to be as blatantly obvious, like last year with Will Smith or a Chris Stratton. I don't think the leashes are as long for Chris Stratton, MJ Melendez, Hunter Renfroe, really anybody on this team. The leash isn't as long as it was a season ago, so long as there's a better option presenting itself in AA, AAA, whether that's Caglione or John Rave. If there's a better option, in my opinion, there will be no hesitation.
So that was Josh Vernier when we asked him the question about MJ Melendez and Hunter Renfroe. I don't think it's fair to put those two players in the same boat. Hunter Renfroe is almost in his mid-30s. If it doesn't work out for the Kansas City Royals, I don't think that there's too many stops left in his career. His career is clearly winding down. The Royals took a chance. So far, that chance has not worked out for them, but we'll see how the rest of the season plays itself out. MJ Melendez is in a different context. MJ Melendez is a guy that has shown you he can catch, he can be behind the plate, he can play outfield, he can hit for a little bit of power. If the Royals eventually decide to move on from MJ Melendez, there is still time to turn his career around, and he is still a player that has value and is still redeemable in this context. So it's early in the season. We are talking about the first 6 games that the Royals have played, and I don't think that there's any serious cause for concern, at least in a team standpoint, because of the division. The Royals right now are in second place in the American League Central. There is no team in the American League Central that is over 500. So if you take a look at the next 10 days for the Kansas City Royals, because I think this is very important, they play 3 games against Baltimore. This is a team last year that won 80-something games, a team that you played in the wild card round, a team that made the postseason. And then starting on Monday, the Royals play 7 straight days against a team that is in their division. They have a 4-game set against the Minnesota Twins, and they have a 3-game set Friday, Saturday, and Sunday against the Cleveland Guardians. So it is real simple to me. The Royals, I'm not calling them must-win kind of games, but you only play 13 games against Cleveland, and you are going to be done with 6 of those games before the Easter Bunny appears. Those games are kind of important for the Royals. You look at the Minnesota Twins, a team that I think could be hovering around the same number of win totals that the Royals could potentially be. So these are not make or break, do or die kind of games, but in the context when you are putting the puzzle of the schedule together, certainly games that matter for them. The offense needs to wake up at some point. We've given you guys the stats. In the last 30 games that the Royals have played, they have scored 88 runs. You're never going to find a level of consistency and get hot if you can't score. And you're putting a lot on your offense, on the pitching staff, whether it's the starters or the bullpen. It is a lot you are asking for them if your team is going to average less than 3 runs over a month of playing baseball. So again, it's early. We'll see if the bats can wake up. We'll see if that can start later today. As you got Seth Lugo going on the hill, you are expecting Seth Lugo to give you a quality start. That's who he is as a pitcher. The problem has not been the pitching so far. The problem has been the offense for the Kansas City Royals. All right, JT, this is what we'll do. Hit the sounder, do the Baker Reed, and then we'll talk a little college basketball.
Your workday is over.
Oh, yeah.
You're headed home. and now you're stuck in traffic. Time to get caught up on the biggest stories in Kansas City and around the country with CDOT and Rob. It's time for the hits. Number 1.
And I'm back at it again. Because guess what? The hits are presented by Baker University, where graduates earn higher salaries and land jobs faster than any other Kansas universities. Apply today at bakeru.edu.
All right, let's talk a little bit of Final Four here. And you know what? We'll get you a Royals random lineup coming up in just a bit. But let's get you ready for the Final Four. All right, we have 2 games coming up tomorrow. The first one tips off at around 5 o'clock. Florida goes up against Auburn. You have a classic SEC matchup. In the nightcap, that game is scheduled to tip at 7:49. There is no chance that game tips off at 7:49. You have Houston going up against Duke. So you got the SEC matchup. You also have the best team from the Big 12 this year. You also have the best team from the ACC. These have been 4 of the best teams in college basketball, if not the 4 best teams in college basketball from start to finish. This is why I like Florida to win their first game, at least of the weekend. I told you guys, this game will always be about buckets. Sure, you got to be able to get stops, but you also need guys that when the shot clock breaks down, can you go score and can you go get a bucket? And what we've seen from Florida so far in this year's NCAA tournament, as they have gotten themselves into 2 dangerous spots. They were in a dogfight against UConn in the second round of this thing, and they were backs up against the wall in the Elite Eight against Texas Tech. In the game against UConn, Walter Clayton Jr. scored 23 points and was 5 of 8 from 3. In the game against Texas Tech, when it looked like Florida was on the way out, and it looked like Florida was about to be going fishing, he scored 30 points. He was 7 of 14 from the floor. He was 13 of 14 from the free throw line. He had 1 turnover in 35 minutes. When your point guard controls the tempo the way that he does, when your point guard can go get it, when your point guard can shoot it the way that he can, you are a very, very difficult out. I think that Walter Clayton is the best guard left in this tournament. And I think tomorrow, in a game in which the 2 teams are fairly even between Florida and Auburn, I think he is the difference maker. I think he advances. I think that Florida moves on, and I think that Florida is going to play for the national championship. They also have been the hottest team in March. Now, Duke's been super hot. You don't get to this point in the Final Four without being hot. This Florida team, since March 1, it has been different. They have beaten Alabama a couple of times. They just beat Texas Tech in the Elite Eight. They beat UConn. They beat Tennessee. They won the SEC championship. This Florida team is playing as well as anybody. I'm going to pick them to advance and go to the national championship. I had that on my bracket at the very beginning. You pat myself on the back. I feel smart. I knew what I was talking about. Now, on the other side, I was not a Duke believer coming into this tournament. I told you guys I didn't think that the ACC prepared them for this tournament. I was wrong about that. I stand before you willing to admit it. This feels like Duke's tournament. That's what it feels like. This feels like Duke's tournament. They have been the best team in this tournament. They have the best player in this tournament. They have the best surrounding parts and cast around said player. This just feels like their tournament. They have not been tested yet. Now, we'll see if they get tested because Houston is number 1 defensively. They are going to be a very physical test. And what I do like about Houston in this matchup and why I originally picked Houston to win the national championship is we're talking about a very experienced, veteran-laden team. Everybody in their starting 5 is an upperclassman. This is not a team that has a star freshman. This is a team that has guys who have either been there multiple years at Houston or guys who have played multiple years of high major basketball and then transferred over to Houston. In the new portal era, I think they are the kind of program that you're trying to create. They have absolutely used the transfer portal. Their top 3 scorers are all players that come from other universities, but they're guys that they got when they were freshmen and sophomore. They transferred over. They've now played 2 or 3 years in the system, and they are the most experienced team this side of Auburn in the NCAA tournament. I like this Houston team a lot. It just feels like it's Duke's tournament. This just feels like the torch is being passed to the next generation of coaches. where for the last 15, 20 years in the sport, it's been dominated by Bill Self. It's been dominated by Roy Williams, Mike Krzyzewski, Jim Boeheim. It's been dominated by those coaches. It feels like a new day with Dan Hurley and John Shire and just a new crop of coaches. It feels like Duke is poised to win this thing. I got Florida going up against Duke on Monday in the national championship.
Yeah, I've said this all day with you. I totally agree. You have the best player in college basketball going up against the hottest basketball player right now in Wallard Clayton and Cooper Flagg. I think those two getting to the championship would be electric to have. But I would say I would not be surprised or shocked if we actually saw the opposite of Auburn versus Houston. That's just how good this Final Four is. All 4 teams could win the championship.
Yeah, I think this is a really strong one at this point. I mean, I think we've been at this place probably since the Sweet 16, maybe the Elite 8. I don't think there's really too many bad matchups that we can get. The cream has definitely risen to the top in men's college basketball this year. If you were watching at the very beginning of the season, I think you've been able to identify, probably since Christmas time, who the top 6 to 10 teams are. And for the most part, all of those teams advanced very deep in the tournament. Aside from St. John's, every team that people thought was good in this season, they have all advanced to the final weekends of the NCAA tournament. So that's who I have. I have Florida going up against Duke. If that's the matchup that we get, it will be a phenomenal national championship game. But if we get Auburn against Duke, if we get Auburn against Houston, I think it's going to be a really, really special national championship game, regardless of the combination that we get between the 4 teams this weekend. All right, before we sign off today, as one of the last things that we do this week, you guys know the rule. We talked about the Royals earlier today, so that can only mean one thing. As you're driving on a dreary, rainy Friday afternoon / evening / night in Kansas City, there's only one thing left to do. Hit me, JT.
Where you want to be. Baseball with the Royals. If you want to be.
Well, Carrington, I'm giving the listeners what they wanted. They said they wanted the 0-3 lineup. Guess what? I'm giving them the 0-3 lineup. Here goes my chance at naming all these players, and only 2 of them I actually know and remember.
Okay, let's do this.
Leading off was Michael Tucker.
Oh, Michael Tucker.
Who, at this time in the season, was batting a .077 batting average.
That's too early in the season. You judging him. That's too early in the year, man. Right. You judging him.
You had Joe Randa at second base, or at third base, batting second.
Hold on. Don't you ever come on this show laughing at the Joker, Joe Randa.
No, it just sounds like Joe Random, except they put Randa.
Please don't ever laugh at Joe Randa. This is how I know you're young. This is how I know you're out here showing your youth. You're laughing at Joe Randa? Please don't do that.
In the 3-hole, you had Mike Sweeney. Yes. Obviously, I know Mike Sweeney.
Should be in the Royals Hall of Fame. Should be in the Major League Baseball Hall of Fame. Should be in the Life Hall of Fame.
Batting cleanup, you had Raul Ibanez.
This is where the lineup, I could tell, already is about to start falling off a cliff.
It's about to get wild.
Once you get past Raul Ibanez.
You got D. Brown.
Shout out to D. Brown.
Fifth.
I wonder what D. Brown is up to these days.
Then you got Ken Harvey.
Ken Harvey should have been hitting cleanup for this team. Do you remember Ken Harvey?
No.
I'm going to teach you something about Royals baseball because I know you're a little bit young. You remember that home run that Alex Gordon hit in Game 1 of the World Series?
Yeah.
Ken Harvey hit a more important home run in Royals history. Oh. It was a Buck night, Friday night home run.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's what it was. One of the most important home runs in Royals history, maybe number 1 on the list. For those of you that were there, it was an all-time Royals moment.
Yeah, he was 3 for 4, 3 RBIs today.
Of course.
Yeah.
Because you want to know why?
Why?
He was Barry Bonds.
Okay.
That's who he was.
Then you had Brent Maine at catcher.
That's a Brent Maine, former Rocky.
And then here comes probably 2 butchered names. Angel Barroa.
Say that again for me.
Barroa.
Okay.
Some white stuff, I'm telling you.
What'd you call him?
I said I'm saying I'm white as hell.
No, I know that part. How did you pronounce his name again?
Barroa.
Okay, all right.
And then we have the Carlos Fables.
Who pitched that day for the Royals?
Well, the winner was Ryan Buckvich.
You sure you pronounced that right?
I have no clue, but I know I'm not saying Buckvich. It's Vich. And then the loser was Tom Gordon. Like I said, in this game, bottom 8, Royals scored 7 to win 12-6.
How old are you, JT?
I am 24.
Okay, all right. We can tell.
Yeah, I bet you can.
No, we can tell. If you know who Angel Baroa is, no. No.
I've never heard of him. I told you, I was a baby.
Text line is so mad. That's funny.
I bet they're losing their mind.
Oh, the text line is very funny. I mean, it went how I would presume it was going to go when you started to pronounce those names. It went exactly how
I'm that young,
913. It was going to go. Oh man. JT, you know what? You tried your best, man. I'm here to help you. Let me tell you, Angel Baroa, back in 2003, he won Rookie of the Year. And that was kind of it. Think of Angel Baroa. He was like baseball Fetty Wap. Like, he came out of the gates. He had hits, you know. He had Trap Queen, 679, My Way, and then you can't really think of nothing else. That's kind of how Angel Baroa was. That year one, it was a magical season. Angel Baroa almost guided the Royals to the postseason, and then it was over. Then his second album flopped, and he was out the game.
He has to do every Royals lineup moving forward.
You know what? I actually would not be against. We just record you pronouncing Royals players' names and just hearing how you do. I would be. I'd be very much for that.
That would be fun.
I would be. I would be very much. Trying.
I used to work at Chick-fil-A. I woke up early mornings, worked the morning shift, and I tell you what, I woke up one morning, got to work, and it was a bad day because the lady puts her name down, and I get to the window. I was the drive-through guy, and I didn't even look up to see who was at the window, and I go, for Barbera, ? And the guy looks at me and goes, no, my name's Dave, and I bet you met Barbara. And I was like, yeah, that's probably it. That's when I knew my calling card was not to be at Chick-fil-A.
Yeah. You know what? I'm assuming they fired you and said, my pleasure.
No, they didn't actually fire me. That's crazy you said that. They asked me if I was working today because they're like, wait, are you going to be on 96.5 The Fan? I was like, yeah, I am. They're like, all right, we'll put it on. I was like, all right, cool. I never said my pleasure. My dad could not believe I got a job there.
Yeah, I could tell. How much more time is the I don't want to go into a take and we have 30 seconds left. How much more time do we have
left?
Like
7 seconds.
We have 7 seconds left. All right, I had so many thoughts. You know what? We're gonna bring you back next week for a segment where I'm gonna hand you former Royals players' names and we're gonna have you read them. I don't know if we're gonna do the lineup again, but you know what? Next week we'll do a segment where we're gonna people are pointing at names. Oh, trust me. Next week we will play this game with JT where we will have him pronounce former Royals names. I don't know what's going to happen. It's going to be very, very entertaining. I had a lot of fun today. Hopefully you had a lot of fun today. I don't even know if we have Daniel Craig queued up because I'm not really sure if JT has ever listened to this show before.
Yeah, nope, I don't.
I could tell. My pleasure. I'll catch you guys next week. Ladies and gentlemen, the weekend.
Ladies and gentlemen, the weekend.
Some things just go together, like peanut butter and jelly, or a Casey's spicy chicken sandwich and a 49-cent medium fountain drink, or a Casey's breakfast sandwich and a 49-cent fountain drink, or even Casey's limited time Italian deli sliders and a 49-cent fountain drink. You get the idea. It's not crazy. It's Casey's. See store for details.
Papa Roach.
This is my last resort. That's what she said. I don't hate.
With Rise Against, celebrating 25 years. Rise of the Roach Tour. Rocket T-Mobile Center this Wednesday night. With special guest, Under Oath. On sale now at LiveNation.com. Don't miss Papa Roach and Rise Against together on one epic night.
Hi, Mia here at the winnings desk of the Missouri Lottery. With 56 million winning tickets last year, anyone can win big. So set your destination to winning, like gas stations, grocery stores, or anywhere you can buy a ticket. The Missouri Lottery. Winners welcome and play responsibly.
At Diamonds Direct, our experts go the extra mile to ensure you have the tools to say I do with absolute confidence. Our promise to you is a completely risk-free shopping experience rooted in transparency, education, and integrity. No pressure, no intimidation, just clarity and confidence in your purchase. But we're about more than just price. Everything is backed by our exclusive guarantees. Put our tools to the test against any competitor, and our expert staff will ensure you get the very best overall value and unforgettable experience. Learn more at DiamondsDirect.com. Diamonds Direct, your love, our passion.
Oh, by the way, Ivan's no longer on the project. His wife got a new job, so they're moving across the country.
Robin's top researcher is deviating to a new market. This isn't standard.
And now we're short-staffed. Who's going to finish all these projects?
She needs a cluster of new data analysts, and there's no margin for error.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. Put our matching platform to work so you can spend less time searching and more time connecting with talented candidates. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
I'm Bob Burke, founder and chairman of Burke America Parts Group, a family of brands that includes RepairClinic.com, an appliance and HVAC parts solution company that's grown into an international brand. Before AmericanEagle.com, we partially launched a new technology platform developed by another firm. American Eagle helped take our technology to a whole new level with digital marketing, software development, and business insights into our key markets, appliances, HVAC, and outdoor power equipment, and did so both on time and on budget. AmericanEagle.com has the resources, experience, and talent needed to produce solutions. Our new technology platform, developed by AmericanEagle.com, has produced tremendous results with higher traffic, conversion,